Chapter 736. How will I judge? Luo Feng's eyes burned with flames, laughing coldly. How do you think I'll judge? Powerful. The Virtual Universe Company is indeed powerful. They actually gave me this as the 4th round of the mission, and they even want me to judge my father. Luo Feng clearly remembered the details of the 21 criminals in the mission, of which his father Luo Hong was details. He remembered every single word clearly. His father's crime was to kill many universe citizens with a high position. Of course, his father didn't do it himself. One had to know that his father had always been on Earth, playing virtual games all day. Naturally, he couldn't do it himself. The information provided by the Virtual Universe Company was Luo Hongwa was a hardcore gamer of one of the top 10 virtual games, Blue Snow World. Virtual games had a huge influence in humanity's 1,008 universe countries. Because to become an absolute warrior, only one universe level would emerge from an army of thousands. The chances of a sector lord being born was pitifully low. Hence, many who couldn't progress on their path to become strong felt that life had no goals, were from rich families, were free from work. These all chose to play virtual games. 100% virtual, the feeling was exactly like the real thing. Even if one couldn't become a universe level in reality, they could become an absolute warrior in the virtual games. Still, with a single call, they could dominate the world. How carefree would that be? Hence, the virtual game industry was actually a very developed industry. Its audience was huge. Naturally, the competition was intense. And the games created by the Virtual Universe Company took up the majority of the market share, of which Blue Snow World was one of the top 10 virtual games. The online player population of a universe citizens, at its peak, was comparable to a third of a universe country's citizen population. With so many players, the rewards within Blue Snow World were naturally shocking. Luo Hongwa, with Luo Feng as his son, he was naturally a rich gamer. The son casually gave his father some money, and that was comparable to a sector lord's entire wealth. And the true warriors only played virtual games for fun. Training to increase their own strength was the most important. This Luo Hongwa had money to support him. Second was his passion. Third was his talent in games. And fourth was that Luo Feng had groomed his father to a universe level, that reaction speed, etc., made him far ahead of many other players. Naturally, he was having a good time. Luo Hong would build a guild called Nirvana. The guild grew very quickly, shockingly quickly. However, Song Shui World had players all over the 1,008 universe countries. Many of them were families with no future, yet they had enough money to spare. These players who had suffered in real life fought in the virtual game. Therefore, the competition between the large number of guilds in the virtual game was extremely fierce. That was why, by getting rid of some scourges in the real world, for example, by getting rid of the guild leader in the real world, the guild would naturally collapse and disband. Even though the Virtual Universe Company wouldn't divulge the information of the players, players would still accidentally divulge their information in their daily interactions. There were also many players who called their friends to roam the universe with. If one of them leaked the information, everyone else would be exposed as well. During the growth of the Nirvana Union, there were thousands of assassinations in reality. Moreover, several of them were extremely bloody. As the president of the Nirvana Union, Luo Hongwa naturally had to bear the main responsibility. Stupid. Luo Feng was enraged. He was about to go crazy. Father was a normal worker back then. He didn't even go to school when he was young and went through the great Nirvana. After that, he worked hard to take care of me and my brother. He didn't know how to scheme, lived a simple life, and didn't receive a good education. He's not cut out to be a president. How could Luo Feng not be clear about his father's character? Messing around. Back then, he was a hard worker doing manual labor. Playing virtual games was all based on his deeply buried dreams. How could his father understand the hidden dangers within? The highest number of online players is close to a third of a universe country's population. What kind of concept is that? At its peak, 1 out of 3,000 universe citizens played this game. Luo Feng had tried playing virtual games before. Every game was simply a whole new world. It was indeed very attractive. A game with so many players, how much profit would it make? With profit, there would be all sorts of schemes and plots. The Nirvana Union's rapid growth, and shockingly fast, just relying on Father to grow the Union so quickly in a game with countless elites, that's not very possible. If Father had such foresight, such skill, he wouldn't have had to do manual labor for over 20 years back then. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. Maybe it's because Father has money, or maybe it's because he knows Father's identity. He thinks the Ganwu Department Supervisor Envoy Father, this identity, is powerful enough. Hence they all enter the Nirvana Union Father built. The Ganwu Department Supervisor Envoy, a big figure. To the gamers, this kind of universe country's top 10 super big shot was definitely a high and mighty being. Such a big shot's father playing games and building a union, being under him, naturally having money and power made things easier. Virtual Universe, Black Dragon Mountain Island 9-Star Bay. Luo Feng's house. Pass down the order. Luo Feng ordered. Quickly capture these 20 people. Don't let a single one of them escape. Saying that, he slammed a piece of paper on the table. What's making you so unhappy? Su Xian picked up the paper and looked. There were 20 names on the paper. Luo Fuxin, Luo Yuqin, Luo Yurong. Su Xian looked shocked at Luo Feng after reading, asking curiously, why do you want to capture 20 of them? These 20 all have their own businesses, and they're considered the most outstanding of our Luo family's younger generation. Their businesses are doing well. 3 of them I'm preparing to absorb into the family's important businesses. Summon them? Luo Feng said coldly. Don't say any more. Hurry and arrange for these 20 to be captured. Remember, none of them can escape. All right. Su Xian didn't ask any further and immediately went to arrange. These few years, Su Xian had been managing the family's internal affairs. In terms of management, she was indeed very strong. Also, capture these 20 and bring them to Qianhua Planet. Luo Feng said coldly. I'll reach Qianhua Planet within 3 days. Luo Feng had never been so angry during the previous 3 missions. He was either angry at the younger generation for not living up to expectations, or angry at the Virtual Universe Company for intentionally arranging such a task for him. The raging Luo Feng didn't want to take his time from the ancient Luan Universe country, sitting in a ship and slowly flying back. Instead, he relied on Dylan's swift God country transfer back to the Milky Way, and then headed towards Qianhua Planet. Black Dragon Mountain Empire, Dragon Star. Within a luxurious mansion, almost everyone who came and went were rich and powerful. The owner of this mansion was called Luo Fuxin, and he was a newly risen energy merchant within the Black Dragon Mountain Empire. The energy industry was originally a profiteering industry, and the threshold was extremely high. And this Luo Fuxin was someone no one dared to mess with. Even the Empire's royal family enthusiastically supported him. Lord Luo, Lord Luo. A sharp voice resounded. A skinny, skeleton-like middle-aged man in a luxurious golden robe walked into the mansion with a large group of women behind him. At the same time, he shouted loudly. Suddenly, a person walked out from the distant corridor. It was a young man with a rather handsome face. He was similarly dressed in luxurious and exquisite clothing. He also laughed loudly and said, "It's Katas. My dear Katas, I missed you so much. Oh, let me see the group of beautiful ladies behind." The noble youth's eyes gleamed as he looked at the group of beauties from various races. Lord Luo, these are the absolute beauties from the various races that I've painstakingly searched through 10 starfields for you. The skeletal middle-aged man laughed slyly. He was very clear on the strength of the youth before him. Even the Ganwu Department's business department head had to respect the supervisor envoy. And the Ganwu Department's business department head could be said to be the most terrifying big shot in the entire Ganwu Universe country's business industry. Whoever offended that business department head could forget about doing business. Hence he naturally had to curry favor with this youth before him. He didn't see. The various departments didn't dare to extort from this youth. He didn't see those who dared to go against him. All of them had died. HM. The noble youth carefully looked at the beauties from various races, simultaneously praising. My dear Katas, I'm really grateful to you. The energy crystals you need, I can give you a 25% increase. 25%. Spending so much effort to get this much. What a stingy bastard. Even though the skeletal middle-aged man was cursing inside, on the surface he was filled with a grateful smile, saying, Lord Luo, you're really too generous. If you have such a request, just let me know. I'll definitely try my best to fulfill it. Rumble, rumble, rumble. 3 beams of light suddenly shot down from the sky. Who is it? You dare barge into the Luo family. An explosive roar resounded from within the mansion. A group of universe-level slave guards all rushed out. However, the 3 beams of light landed right in front of the noble youth, releasing their powerful auras. 3 domain lords. The skeletal middle-aged man's heart trembled. The #1 warrior of the low-level empire, Silver Blue Empire, had only just reached domain lord level 2. And now 3 domain lords had suddenly appeared. Who are you? You dare barge into my Luo family mansion. Luo Fuxin, under the orders of the head, we're officially arresting you. One of the 3 domain lords immediately took out a tag and grabbed the terrified Luo Fuxin. So, they immediately broke through space and left. I'm Luo Yuqian. You dare arrest me. You're looking to die? I'm a disciple of the Luo family. Who are you? The Ganwu Department Supervisor Envoy is the head of the Luo family. You dare arrest me. The Luo family disciples were even more powerful than the Black Dragon Mountain Empire's Imperial family disciples, and these 20 were all considered powerful within the family, their methods vicious and their achievements great. However, when they found out the family had sent people to arrest them, they were all dumbfounded. Rumble, the blood-colored triangular universe ship became a beam of light and rushed straight into the atmosphere of a planet in the Milky Way, Qianhua Planet. Within the ship's control room, Luo Feng's eyes were cold as he gazed down at the planet, almost as though he was looking at the imprisoned family disciples. Chapter 737. Qianhua Planet was an important base of the Luo family in the Milky Way. And ever since the Virtual Universe Company and Battle Axe Dojo placed importance on Earth, along with the large-scale construction of floating cities, the Luo family began to weaken the Luo family mansion's importance. The true center of power was in the Virtual Universe Black Dragon Mountain Island 9-Star Bay, and this Qianhua Planet was also an important center of power. The Luo family members that stayed here for long periods numbered over 60,000. Qianhua Planet, Eastern Hemisphere, an area of over 1,000 kilometers in diameter, within the Luo family base's prison. Great-grandfather, save me. Save me. In one of the cells, the handsome Luo Fuxin was kneeling in the cell, grabbing the bars and crying. The cells in this prison were divided into railed cells and fully enclosed cells. The materials used in the cells were also divided into C9 and E9 grade alloys. Just what did you do to make the family leader order for you to be captured? Luo Hai's eyes were like lightning, looking angrily at Luo Fuxin. Great-grandfather, I really don't know. I've always been strict with myself, not daring to cross the family's bottom line. Even though Luo Fuxin was afraid within, on the surface he still cried out. He carefully recalled all the things he had done. He thought he was extremely careful and didn't leave any traces. How would he know? The Virtual Universe Company had surveillance on all life planets. Any human life planet, except for a few aboriginals, undiscovered planets, and the Strong's territories, was completely monitored. Everything Luo Fuxin had done in secret, with the Luo family's intelligence network, they naturally couldn't find out. However, the Virtual Universe Company easily found out. All right, I'll help you. As long as you don't break the family rules, I'll make sure you don't die. Luo Hai emphasized. Luo Feng had 2 sons, Luo Hai, Luo Ping. Luo Hai was very much like Luo Feng. He loved to train and roam the universe. Luo Ping was like his mother Su Xin. He loved to manage and manage. The 2 had received the best education since young. Along with the hundreds of years of training, they were both very smart. Over the hundreds of years, Luo Hai's descendants were countless. Naturally, there were a few he liked. Luo Fuxin was the one Luo Hai doted on more. On the Qianhua planet, on the plaza of the Luo family's base, over 100,000 people were gathered. Every one of them was dressed extraordinarily. Other than the men of the family, there were also the wives of the family members. At the front of the crowd, Su Exin, Luo Ping, and Luo Hai, as well as Di Fan and some other world overlords. Rumble, the blood-red, triangular ship, descended from the sky and slowly landed on the square. Over 100,000 clansmen were all silent, not daring to make a sound. Many of them felt their bodies heating up as they looked excitedly at the cabin door. The true source of their Luo family's glory, the true pillar of their Luo family, the leader Luo Feng, had finally arrived. For many of them, this was the first time they had such an opportunity. Many children who were being held by their parents had their eyes wide open. Wah! The cabin door opened. Two figures walked out. One was a black-haired young man dressed in azure battle armor. There was a golden sword mark on his forehead, and the violent and sharp aura of the law of metal he exuded was terrifying. Beside him was the black-robed bald man, who gave off the feeling of an endless abyss. This caused countless clansmen to tremble with excitement. Is that the Patriarch? What a terrifying aura. The one beside him is the legendary Undying Guard of the Patriarch. An Undying is also a guard for our Patriarch. Countless clansmen were excited. Suddenly, greetings, Patriarch. Over 100,000 of them all knelt down. Only Su Exin, Luo Ping, and Luo Hai remained standing. Luo Feng and Dylan flew down. Simultaneously, Luo Feng waved his hand and kept the Yun Mo planet ship. Su Exin, how is it? Have the 20 we captured arrived? Luo Feng walked to Su Exin's side and asked softly. Not that fast. Su Exin shook her head. Some are in other star fields. Even with the E9 grade ship I arranged for, we won't be able to reach them within 3 days. I estimate the slowest would take another 12 days to reach Qianhua planet. Right now, there are already 9 people being escorted to Qianhua planet. Luo Feng nodded. He had used the God Country's teleportation to rush back from the ancient Lun Universe country. Of course, it was fast. Dad, this time you captured 20 of them. Luo Hai couldn't help but say. We'll talk about it later. Luo Feng's gaze swept across the dense mass of over 100,000 clansmen. As the saying goes, once there were over 10,000 people, it would feel like a sea of people. With over 100,000 kneeling there, it made Luo Feng exclaim within, the family is indeed too huge. Right now, including the women, the family members have long exceeded 1 million. When I return from Primal Chaos City, the family members will probably exceed 10 billion. As the population grows, the family rules will have to be strict. I can't let anyone have any hope. After which, Luo Feng brought Su Exin and the others towards their living quarters. The over 100,000 clansmen waited for Luo Feng to leave before getting up and leaving. Within a warm living room, Luo Feng, Su Exin, Luo Ping, and Luo Hai were casually sitting on the sofa. Dad, Luo Hai couldn't help but say, why did you suddenly order for the 20 of them to be captured? That Luo Fuxin, I watched him grow up. He's extremely outstanding and smart. Don't malign him. Shut up. Luo Feng ordered coldly. Luo Hai was shocked. Luo Ping and Su Exin were shocked too. They could feel that Luo Feng's temper was more explosive today. Extremely outstanding? Extremely smart? Luo Feng said coldly. However, he doesn't place his intelligence on the right path. Firstly, he doesn't seriously train to become a strong warrior. Secondly, he doesn't rely on proper methods to run his business. He obviously has the full support of the Ganwu Department's business department and also the Black Dragon Mountain Empire's help. However, he actually used such methods. Looks like he's been pampered since young. He's never experienced any setbacks. The moment he meets a competitor or an obstacle, he doesn't know how to fight and defeat them. Instead, he kills them physically. He's really smart and outstanding. Luo Hai, Luo Ping, and Su Exin were shocked. Luo Feng, do you have evidence? Su Xian asked. The family's internal intelligence department hasn't checked. The family's intelligence department hasn't checked. That's because their investigative abilities are still weak. This is information given to me personally by the Virtual Universe Company. The evidence is more than enough. How can it be wrong? Luo Feng frowned, and the number of clansmen in the family is increasing. The family is getting bigger and bigger. Right now, our Luo family controls more resources. Hence, we'll let our descendants enjoy the benefits. However, no matter how much resources we have, against the sea of clansmen in the future, we'll still be lacking. Hence, we'll have to increase the difficulty for the clansmen to obtain the benefits. Filtering, competition, at the same time, we'll have to train and strengthen the family rules. Su Xian nodded. This is already in the plan. Luo Feng nodded. The rage on his face had finally dissipated a little. He sighed. I know that the large families in the universe have huge numbers. There'll definitely be many problems. However, I didn't expect that with less than 1 million bloodline members. It's already like this. Su Xian, help me prepare. When the 20 people are all here, I'll execute the family trial. I'll make sure all the bloodline members on Qianhua planet are all here. All right. Su Xian nodded. This trial of Luo Feng was extremely serious. It wasn't just because of the Virtual Universe Company. It was also for the family. Luo Feng needed to use this trial to shock and awe the family, letting them know the severity of the family rules. The moment there weren't any restrictions, the Luo family would have many spoiled brats. This was something Luo Feng definitely didn't want to see. Your Majesty Luo Feng, this is the detailed information you requested. Thank you. Luo Feng requested information on Luo Fuxin, Luo Yuqian, and his father from the Virtual Universe Company's intelligence department. This information had a very low level of authority. Hence, it was all given to Luo Feng. After looking at the information, Luo Feng couldn't help but grit his teeth. He hated his descendants for not living up to his expectations. On the 13th day of Luo Feng's return, all the bloodline members gathered on Qianhua planet were gathered in the family trial hall. The entire hall was extremely huge. It could hold up to 1 million people. I heard the family leader is judging a few of the family members. Who is he judging? No idea. I heard he secretly captured many people. There's over 100 of them. This time the family leader is personally judging them. It'll definitely be very serious. Nearly 100,000 juniors gathered in the courtroom were discussing among themselves. Suddenly, the entire courtroom was filled with buzzing noises. As the doors of the courtroom opened with a loud bang, all the juniors quieted down. 20 men and women, bound in chains, were escorted in one by one. Look, that's Luo Fuxin. That's Luo Tianqi. Wah, that's Luo Fengqiu. The beauty of the family. She's actually been captured. The family members watching the scene were all discussing softly. They were extremely shocked. The 20 family members were all forced to kneel on the ground. So, there wasn't anyone in the main seat of the hall before. However, a silhouette suddenly appeared. It was Luo Feng dressed in black armor. His eyes were like blades as he examined the 20 people below. Family leader. Close to 100,000 family members shouted respectfully, after which there was no more noise. Family leader. The 20 family members who were being escorted and kneeling looked up in fear and panic at this legendary being. The person they relied on to act tyrannically was one of the top 10 absolute beings in the Ganwu universe country, Luo Feng. And right now, Luo Feng was coldly gazing down at them. It was as though he was looking at 20 ants. Close to 100,000 people were listening to the judgment. Su Xn, Luo Ping, Luo Hai, and the others were listening too. Luo Fuxin, do you know your crimes? Luo Feng said coldly. Family leader, I don't know. Luo Fuxin knelt there. His wisdom from before was no longer useful. He could only force himself to speak. You don't know. You've only been born for 100 years. Luo Feng's voice was cold. You've never had any enmity with me. However, just because my business has affected you, you've killed over 10,000 innocent people. There's nothing wrong with killing people. However, killing innocent people, then you deserve to die. Luo Fuxin stared wide-eyed as though he wanted to say something. You think the family's intelligence department can't find out? Yes, you're very careful and smart. You've done things flawlessly. However, even if the family can't find out, that doesn't mean the virtual universe company can't. Luo Feng stood high above, gazing down at Luo Fuxin. Immediately, Luo Fuxin's expression went pale. Even the other 19 kneeling behind had their expressions change. The close to 100,000 family members listening to the trial were all shocked, my God, so the family could still use the virtual universe company's intelligence department to investigate them. The virtual universe company was such a huge entity. Who would dare say they wouldn't be able to find them? I sentence you to death. Luo Feng extended his finger. Xiao! A blade light pierced through the air, piercing right through Luo Fuxin's forehead, forming a bloody hole. The kneeling Luo Fuxin's eyes were filled with fear, following which he fell to the ground with a thud. The blood from the wound on his forehead dyed the ground red. This scene made the close to 100,000 family members in the courtroom tremble. Simultaneously, this scene was transmitted through the Virtual Universe Network to the judges of the highest point missions of the Virtual Universe Company. P.S. Chapter 1. Chapter 738. Luo Fuxin died in front of the courtroom, his blood and brain matter flowing on the ground. This scene caused almost everyone in the clan to tremble. This is the Patriarch. The Patriarch is really merciless. Too harsh. The clansmen were filled with blind worship and respect towards the family's legend, Luo Feng. The entire family was created because of Luo Feng. If it was someone else in the family punishing a junior disciple, there might be some dissatisfaction. However, Luo Feng punishing a junior disciple to death was something that no one dared to be dissatisfied with. At most, they would think that the Patriarch was very strict. Next, Luo Yuqian. Luo Feng gazed at another person in the courtroom. Do you know your crime? Luo Yuqian, who was as beautiful as a woman, turned pale. He immediately knelt down and buried his head on the ground. Yuqian knows his mistake. Luo Yurong. Luo Feng's gaze turned to the girl beside him, who looked exactly the same as Luo Yuqian. Do you know your crimes? Patriarch, Luo Yurong seemed to be on the verge of tears. She lowered her head and said, I've sinned. Luo Feng nodded. Luo Yurong has bewitched her elder brother, Luo Yuqian. Her crime is unpardonable. She shall be sentenced to death. Following which, Luo Feng extended his finger and a sharp golden blade light shot out. This attack infused with the gold law pierced right through Luo Yurong's forehead, leaving a bloody hole. Pung! Luo Yurong also collapsed to the ground, her face still full of shock, regret, unwillingness, and resentment. Sister. Luo Yuqian's eyes immediately widened as tears streamed down his face. In the courtroom, Luo Feng said coldly, Luo Yuqian, you spoil your sister, delegating power to her, not distinguishing between work and work. I sentence you to 10,000 years in prison. A large number of clansmen who had gathered in the courtroom to watch the trial couldn't help but cry out in alarm. Luo Yuqian's reputation in the Luo family was extremely good, and they could also hear that Luo Yuqian and Luo Yurong's sins were mainly because of their younger sister. However, after being imprisoned for 10,000 years, Luo Yuqian only had the power of a star class. The limit of one's lifespan was 1 epoch. He would probably die of old age in prison, unless, to be able to reach the universe level in the prison, otherwise one would be destined to spend the rest of their lives in the prison. However, without the Luo family throwing in large amounts of resources, just based on Luo Yuqian's own potential, wanting to break through to the universe level was simply too difficult. Abusing one's power to kill, staining one's hands with blood. This is a heinous crime, a capital crime. You sure are ruthless. Since you are young and haven't committed many crimes, you will be imprisoned for 100 years. Heinous crimes, capital crimes. 10,000 years in prison. Death penalty. Death penalty. 100 years in prison. Death penalty. The courtroom was extremely tense. Luo Feng coldly punished the disciples below one by one. Actually, the 21 people the virtual universe company had arranged for Luo Feng were all different in terms of their sins. Some were heavy, some were light, some were even given vague information, and Luo Feng had to apply for the most detailed information from the intelligence department to judge them. The standard of judgment was purely based on the family rules. Luo Feng didn't care about the different rules of the universe countries. The Luo family's rules were strict in some areas and relaxed in others. It was Luo Feng, Su Xen, Luo Hua, and many others who worked together to come up with it. 20 disciples, of which 13 were sentenced to death, 4 were imprisoned for 10,000 years and 3 were imprisoned for 100 years. One had to know that among these family disciples, only one had reached the universe level, and he was immediately executed by Luo Feng. Hence, those that were sentenced to 10,000 years in prison were all facing a dangerous situation. They had to break through to the universe level within the prison, otherwise they would die of old age within. Death penalty, when Luo Feng pointed and killed the last disciple. The atmosphere in the vast courtroom was extremely tense. In the past, even if one was sentenced to death, it wouldn't be carried out within the courtroom, and definitely not by the family head Luo Feng himself. All my Luo family disciples, listen up. Luo Feng's cold gaze swept across the distant close to 100,000 disciples listening. He said coldly, "My Luo family's rules cannot be challenged. Even if you can escape the detection of the family, how can you escape the detection of the virtual universe company's intelligence department?" The close to 100,000 disciples listened respectfully. The path of the strong, killing decisively, killing in a fit of rage, is very normal. Luo Feng said coldly, and accidentally killing the innocent, killing 1 or 2, could be explained as a mistake. However, he had killed hundreds and thousands of innocent people on purpose. How could he defend himself? Even sector lords, even undyings, the moment they cross the line, they will be executed. Don't think that just because you have the family backing you, you can do whatever you want. Don't think that just because your smart families can't detect you, you can do whatever you want. If you want to be a playboy, you can. The family has the lowest resources to provide. You can totally indulge in virtual reality games. However, even a playboy has his bottom line. Exceeding the bottom line, Luo Feng pointed below. The blood, brains, and corpses below formed a heart-palpitating scene. This is what happened to them. After which, Luo Feng became a beam of light and left, leaving behind the silent family disciples. They were all shocked. Almost all of them went back to study the family rules, to prevent themselves from breaking the rules and getting punished. Today's scene made them realize Luo Feng wasn't joking. This scene, it swiftly spread, allowing the disciples of the family scattered across many planets and star fields to see the videos of today's trial. The family, including the women, all trembled. Some of the evildoers were too scared to stop. Qianhua planet. Luo Feng stood at the top of a palace, saying solemnly, "My father Luo Honghua is not guilty." The virtual universe company requested for 21 trials. No matter what, he had to do something. Even though Luo Feng didn't even capture his father, he didn't even interrogate him. Regarding this, Luo Feng had made his decision long ago. To let his father die, Luo Feng would rather have a conflict with a virtual universe company. He could forget about letting his father die too. Luo Feng would never forget back then when his father would return home drenched in sweat, gulping down a large plastic cup of water. Virtual universe network synchronization, close. Luo Feng said softly. "Got it." Babada cheered. The highest point missions have finally all ended. It's over. Luo Feng nodded. No matter what the 4th round's completion rating was, no matter how many points were awarded, that was up to the judges. At least the 4 highest point missions had all ended. The highest point missions were the 4th round. The first round was to judge the 18 members of the Phoenix group. The second round was to choose which side to save. The third round was to judge the 19 sector lords and 2 undyings in front of the Blood Demon Emperor. The 4th round was to judge the Luo family, including his father. Testing my character? Seeing my true nature? Luo Feng thought. Now that the missions have ended, I wonder if the virtual universe company has seen my character. Night. The top of the palace was very cold. Luo Feng stood there quietly. Feng! A voice resounded. Luo Feng turned to look. It was Su Xan dressed in a white fur coat. She smiled. What are you thinking about? Still thinking about today's trial. You've indeed scared the children of the family today. Even the children from other galaxies and starfields are afraid. It's good that they're afraid, Luo Feng said. Right? Su Xian nodded. Su Xian. Luo Feng suddenly flipped his hand and took out a simple-looking laser gun. This is? Su Xian was stunned. E9 grade laser gun. Luo Feng smiled and explained. The charging time is 0.1 seconds. One shot is enough to kill a normal sector Lord level 9. This E9 grade laser gun, the moment it merges with the planet's defense system, the moment an enemy enters the planet, the defense system will control the laser gun. In a short 0.1 seconds, sector lords won't be able to rush to the front of the gun. After charging, when the distance is close, one shot will kill. This is definitely a family protection weapon. Su Xian nodded. Even the Black Dragon Mountain Empire's imperial family didn't have such a family protection weapon. A sector Lord level 9 would find it hard to stay in one place for long, and their lifespan was limited, and the E9 grade laser gun only needed to be maintained to last forever. Even though the Luo family had sector Lord level 9 warriors, they were Luo Feng's guards. When Luo Feng reached sector Lord level, the guards would all leave, and the Luo family would only have one sector Lord left, Defan. With this E9 grade laser gun, the family will be much safer. Su Xian was excited. Take this storage ring. Luo Feng passed it to his wife. Su Xian received it curiously. This is automaton ship. Luo Feng said, this automaton ship's main cannon. Its power is shocking, comparable to an Undying's attack. Naturally, its power is much stronger than the E9 grade laser gun. However, because its size is too big and the charging time is too long, its efficiency can't match up to the E9 grade laser gun. However, it's still considered a family protection weapon. Su Xian nodded. Comparable to an Undying's attack. This was definitely a restricted level weapon. Of course, my parents and you usually live on Earth, and right now Earth can be said to be the safest place in the Ganwu universe country. Luo Feng smiled. What a joke, just what kind of being was stationed in that majestic shrine in the solar system? Luo Feng couldn't even imagine. And with an absolute being stationed there, even if they met a foreign race enemy, they could use the God country to swiftly summon large amounts of absolute warriors. Luo Feng, why do I feel like you're planning something? Su Xian asked curiously. This time I'll be leaving for a very long time. Very long. Far longer than any other time I've left. Luo Feng said. Where to? Su Xian asked. Primal Chaos City. Luo Feng said. How long? Su Xian asked nervously. I'm not sure. I estimate at least 1,000 years. Luo Feng exclaimed. The next time I return, I'll be a Sector Lord Pinnacle. At least 1,000 years, and it's still in Primal Chaos City? Su Xian was curious. I know a lot about training too, Luo Feng. You've already gained the recognition of the gold origin laws, and you've only trained for less than 500 years, and in Primal Chaos City, your training is much faster. Is there a need to train for so long? You wouldn't understand even if I told you. Luo Feng said. Su Xian didn't care. Anyways, we can meet in the virtual universe network. Luo Feng looked at his wife's uncaring expression and couldn't help but laugh. Su Xian, who normally managed the Ping Hai group and the entire Luo family. Only in front of him could she do as she pleased. And usually, she had to maintain a certain level of authority. Luo Feng, there's mail. It's probably the highest point mission. Babada's voice resounded in Luo Feng's mind. Luo Feng's consciousness connected to the virtual universe network. P.S. 2 chapters completed. I'm late this morning, hence 3 chapters tomorrow. Chapter 739. Virtual Universe Primal Region. Within his villa, Luo Feng sat in front of his desk and opened his laptop screen, gently tapping and opening the mail. You've completed the fourth round of the highest points mission. Through the evaluation of many members, your fourth round completion is 70%, acquiring 280,000 points. The entire mission has ended. Luo Feng creased his eyebrows. Only 70% completion? When he did the fourth round, especially regarding the trial of his father, he was indeed a bit tyrannical, immediately declaring him not guilty. However, the other family members, Luo Feng felt that the judgment was still fair. Let's see what this review says. Luo Feng continued to read the mail. Review. This last round was for you to judge 21 of your family members. However, regarding your father, you didn't even capture or interrogate him. You didn't even complete the fourth round. Obviously, deep in your bones, you value your father greatly, not even wanting to interrogate him. Even though your father was innocent, he couldn't escape responsibility. 100 years in jail was the lightest punishment, yet you immediately declared him not guilty. Between work and personal matters, you're even more biased. Hence, I can only give you 70% of the completion. I hope you understand the difference between work and personal matters. After reading this review, Luo Feng's state of mind didn't change at all. His mental state was at the first level, and he walked the extreme path. Even with Hong and Thunder God's persuasion, it was hard to affect him. From this one could imagine his stubbornness, or rather his determination. Coldly closing this mail, he opened another one. Highest points mission bonus rewards. Luo Feng smiled as he watched. The first 4 rounds, even with 100% completion, only added up to 1 million points, and the highest bonus was 1 million. According to the first to fourth round, your entire performance, I'll give you 600,000 bonus points. I hope you can reflect on yourself. Luo Feng's heart skipped a beat. 600,000 bonus points? Then his total points would be 82,000 first round, plus 180,000 second round, plus 300,000 third round, plus 280,000 fourth round, plus 600,000 bonus points, a total of 1,442 points. This was 1% of the 2 million points of the entire mission, not even reaching the 80% limit. Obviously, this result could only be considered average. Overall review. First round, you slaughtered over 1 million, yet you were clear-headed enough to spare a few who didn't deserve to die. This proves your bones are incomparably bloodthirsty, yet you remain calm. And the incomparably bloodthirsty, you chose the 10 billion weaklings in the second round. Deep in your heart, you pity the weak. The third round was to prove that you were not afraid of the strong, that you would rather die than submit, and that you were determined to carry out the mission and have a firm belief. Bloodthirsty but calm, sympathetic to the weak, not afraid of the strong. You did well in the first 3 rounds. If you do well in the fourth round, the bonus points can actually give you 900,000 points. However, when the same mission was assigned to the trial of 21 people, but the target of the mission was changed to your family, your change shocked us, especially your father. Not only were you unwilling to put him on trial, you didn't even bother to catch him and make a scene. Clearly, your family has a great influence on you, to the point where you can't even distinguish between public and private interests and ignore the law. Humans belong to a community, and they should indeed value their families. But everything has an appropriate level, and you've obviously gone too far in this regard. Please be aware of this. Asterisk, 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 the highest level mission had officially ended. As for how the virtual universe company would view him because of this mission, Luo Feng didn't care at all. Excessive? Saying I value my father too much. Luo Feng laughed coldly. What a joke, a bunch of arrogant idiots. Under his big and second brother's guidance, Luo Feng focused on reading some of China's ancient books. As he read, his entire soul was cleansed, and many thoughts resonated with Luo Feng. Since ancient times, there was a saying in Chinese culture, filial piety is the most important of all virtues. Filial piety had already been raised to an extremely high level. Even in history, even though China had changed dynasties time and time again, many of them still agreed that being unfilial to one's parents, being disobedient, that was a death sentence. There were even some dynasties that had decreed death by 1,000 cuts, skinning, burning the bones and scattering the ashes, etc. Obviously, filial piety had already been raised to an extremely high level. Even in the modern society, even in the headquarter city era, not taking care of one's parents and beating them up was still a common occurrence. However, without China's culture, people didn't even think of it as a huge crime. However, Luo Feng, who trained his mind since young, he had been filial to his parents, and after understanding his own nature, understanding his own heart, and reading many ancient books, he had even more enlightenment. Just like in the spring and autumn warring states era, there were cases where a son reported his father for stealing sheep, and the son was deemed unfilial and punished. Just like in China's history, Qin, the laws were extremely strict. They emphasized on laws and regulations, and even looked down on filial piety. The entire country lacked even the most basic of family love. How could the country's people be truly loyal? How could the country be stable? Dying in the second life. There were many stories about filial piety in history, but they all explained one point. Filial piety. This was the most basic factor of humanity. If one couldn't even do the basics of filial piety and didn't even treat his parents well, then how could this person be loyal to his superiors? Loyal to the country? Such a person, if he wasn't brainwashed and had no sense of self, then he was extremely selfish. If even his parents weren't filial, then in his heart, he wouldn't truly care about anyone else. He would only care about himself. Extremely selfish. Filial piety is the most important of all virtues. Even if the father did, the son would rather replace him. At the same time, I would advise the father to change. As for punishment, at least the son would definitely not do it. Luo Feng thought, public and private? There's a limit? Maybe what the virtual universe company needs are those who follow the company's orders perfectly and don't go against the company's orders. Even if it involves family, the company's orders have to be more important than family. I'm afraid that's what the virtual universe company needs. It's a pity. The virtual universe company's orders aren't even 1/10 of my father's importance. Excessive? I don't think it's excessive at all. Luo Feng thought. The second day. Virtual universe Black Dragon Mountain Island 9-Star Bay. Luo Feng was with his father Luo Honghua and mother Gong Xianlan. Dad, Mom. Luo Feng poured tea for his parents. What did you think of finding us today? Gong Xianlan looked at her son, her eyes squinting as she smiled. Luo Feng smiled, changing the topic. Dad, Mom, did you guys create a Nirvana guild in the virtual game? How'd you know? Luo Hong's eyes gleamed as he heard, saying, that Song Shui world is indeed very vast and shocking. It really dazzles me, riding on that flying demon beast and flying in the endless ice world. Hee. The millions of soldiers killing each other, the general battles, it's all too cool. Cool. This was something his father's generation often said. Hee. Luo Feng looked at his father's excited look and couldn't help but laugh. His father was able to live according to his dreams. He himself was very satisfied. Dad, Mom, let me show you something. Luo Feng said, saying that he flipped his hand and took out a document. It was information on the Nirvana Guild's killings. After applying to the intelligence department, after Luo Feng asked, the intelligence department confirmed that this was the lowest level of information. With Luo Feng's position, he could show it to his parents. What is it? Luo Honghua and Gong Xianlan were curious, following which they received the document and looked down. There was a moment of silence. Luo Feng sat there, waiting quietly. His parents too stared at the document. The more they looked, the uglier their expressions got, to the point where Luo Honghua fiercely slammed the table and stood up, his eyes red, roaring, bastards, a bunch of ingrates. I treated them as my life and death brothers. I didn't expect them to use me like this. Xianlan, you told me not to trust people so easily back then. I thought, what's the point of thinking so much in a virtual game, drinking big bowls of wine, eating big mouthfuls of meat, slashing people with blades? It's so awesome. I didn't expect them. I didn't expect. Dad. Luo Feng looked at his father's expression. He knew his father had suffered a huge blow. Luo Honghua sat down again, his eyes filled with pain. Gong Xianlan consoled him from his side. So many people died. Luo Honghua's voice trembled slightly. Dad, You can only blame yourself for not recognizing people well. The ones who truly harmed us were those bastards. Luo Feng said. But they borrow my power. Luo Hong shook his head. Wrong, to be precise, they borrowed my power. Luo Feng said, if it wasn't for me, the Black Dragon Mountain Empire and the Ganwu Universe Countries departments wouldn't have acted so cowardly. Luo Hong felt terrible within. Luo Feng was clear. Showing his parents this information would definitely make them sad. But even though they were sad, he still had to show it to them. His parents were wrong. The son naturally had to advise them. Dad, Mom. Luo Feng changed the topic, distracting his parents. I have to leave soon. Leave? Luo Honghua and Gong Xianlan were curious. Didn't their son often leave home? This time it'll be a long time, at least 1,000 years. Luo Feng emphasized. Hence in the future, I won't be able to return to Earth, even in the virtual universe. I'm afraid I'll only return once in a very long time. Where to? Luo Honghua and Gong Xianlan said. Primal Chaos City. Luo Feng said. The last time he went to Primal Chaos City, his parents knew some basic information. After completing the mission with the highest points, Luo Feng immediately requested to head to Primal Chaos City. As a core disciple, Universe level, Domain Lord and Sector Lord all had the chance to enter Primal Chaos City to train. Luo Feng's request was naturally approved very quickly. Following which, through the God Country transfer, Dylan immediately sent Luo Feng to the Virtual Universe Company's main camp. After which, Luo Feng followed the Virtual Universe Company's ship, along with the other Undyings. They entered the Primal Universe. As for Dylan and the guards, they couldn't follow. According to Luo Feng's plan, after leaving Primal Chaos City, he would be a Sector Lord Pinnacle. When that time came, he wouldn't be able to bring the guards along. Meaning, from now on, the guards would leave him. P.S. First chapter here. Chapter 740. The universe was evolving, and the Primal Universe was a small universe that was in its early stages. In the sky, there were many space cracks, crystal threads moving about the cracks, working hard to repair them. Time after time of repair, time after time of breaking. This repeated endlessly. Primal Chaos City was the only ancient city in the Primal Universe. Rumble. The oval-shaped ship stopped in the air above Primal Chaos City. The cabin door opened, and large amounts of silhouettes for various races flew out. Amongst them was Luo Feng dressed in green armor mixed in. He didn't stand out at all. Luo Feng and the hundreds of others flew out. A black light immediately flew over from Primal Chaos City below. It was a black-robed man with a head full of green scales. This black-robed man smiled, revealing a ferocious smile. Attention all, I'm the welcoming emissary of Primal Chaos City. Everyone here in Primal Chaos City, this isn't the first time for most of you. Those who are familiar with the rules of Primal Chaos City and have been here before, you can move about freely. I believe you all know what to do. And those who are here for the first time, please follow me. So. 22 silhouettes flew towards the black-robed man, following the welcoming emissary. These 22 were all people who obtained their spots through auctions or other methods, entering for the first time. As for the other hundreds of people, they all dived down and spread out. Luo Feng gently landed on the spacious streets, surveying his surroundings. In the distance, there were many training quarters on the balconies. There were many cultivators sitting cross-legged, sector lords, and undyings could be seen everywhere. Of course, most of them were undyings. Just from the energy they emitted, even if it was a sector lord's energy, these sector lords that could train in Primal Chaos City were much stronger than those outside. Primal Chaos City, humanity's sacred land for training. Luo Feng exclaimed. From the sacred land, one could see the difference. The Golden Horn race's sacred land was just a small piece of land within their living area. And humanity's sacred land was specially placed in the Primal Universe. There were a total of 52 Primal Chaos tablets. The Primal Chaos City leader, who was in charge of Primal Chaos City, his strength far surpassed the elders of the Golden Horn race. This was humanity, the pinnacle race of the universe. Very good. This is a good place to train. Luo Feng surveyed his surroundings, I'll first choose a place to stay. I'll choose near teacher's residence. After a while, Luo Feng chose a rather secluded training area that was about 1,000 kilometers away from his teacher's residence. Walking in front of the pale white door, he gently placed his hand on it. The door's sensor system activated and it began to change color. In an instant, it became dark gray. From then on, Luo Feng was the owner of this place. Every room in the cultivation residence was quite spacious. Although there were secret cultivation rooms, most of the cultivators were sitting cross-legged on the rooftop. From today onwards, this will be my temporary home for over 1,000 years. Luo Feng followed the stairs and quickly reached the balcony. The rooftop was nearly 100 meters long and wide. It was even bigger than the field in his high school back on Earth. Moreover, there were some messy and random carvings of different styles on the rooftop. It was obvious that they were left behind by some of the experts who had lived here in the past. He believed that, in the future, there would also be some of his random carvings left here. He crossed his legs and sat down. Even his but could feel the coldness of the rooftop. Look up at the sky. Streams of primal chaos swirled about in the sky, streaks of cracks hanging in the air. Complicated, mysterious patterns and threads circulated about, and natural laws were revealed, making one feel relaxed and happy. From today onwards, I'll be sitting on this balcony for long periods of time. Luo Feng smiled. Returning to the first level's large living room, he ordered the service AI to prepare a cup of hot tea. Lying on the soft leather sofa, Luo Feng held a steaming hot cup of tea and gently smelled the aroma of the tea. After that, he took a sip and savored it in his mouth for a while before swallowing. That comfortable feeling spread throughout his entire body. At the same time, Luo Feng's consciousness was rapidly thinking. Luo Feng enjoyed drinking tea while pondering. I now have the beast god statue, the projection of the large sleeping beast god statue, the first 3 volumes of the space-time essays, the drifting snow, the 36 levels of the flowing god, the illusionary secret manual, the deity of the world, the absolute space, the ancient pictures, and the tearing heaven and earth. Over 6 million mixed elements, over 1 million points. Luo Feng pondered about his trump cards. He planned out his training methods clearly. Normally, when a Sector Lord reached the level of Sector Lord, he would have to start creating his own techniques, even creating his own weapons, and Luo Feng was prepared to reach the Sector Lord level in Primal Chaos City. Plus, his comprehension of the origin laws was high enough. He could start creating his own techniques. Techniques were split into research and battle. Research was to use these techniques and support items to raise one's comprehension of the origin laws. The higher one's comprehension of the laws, the stronger one's strength would be. Actually, origin law comprehension was similar to internal techniques, and battle techniques were a method of usage. The same origin law comprehension, with different usage methods, the difference in battle strength could be huge. Origin law comprehension was internal techniques, battle techniques were sword techniques, blade techniques, etc. Of course, this was just an example. The Golden Horn Beast battle technique is the first claw. The Masha clansman's battle technique is the illusionary techniques. The Earth deity's combat secret technique is the Nan Shun armament. As the Nan Shun armament becomes insufficient in the future, I will gradually use the 36 levels of Evolved God and create a more suitable combat secret technique. As for the other time-space scribbles, Beast God statue, etc., they were all to aid Luo Feng in his comprehension of the origin laws. Even deities of the world was a support technique to strengthen his body. High origin law comprehension is the main thing. Hence, I'll spend my energy on this. Once my origin law comprehension reaches a certain bottleneck, I'll study my battle techniques. Luo Feng thought, I'll do that. After planning out his long-term training, Luo Feng left his training quarters and headed towards his teacher Tru Yan's mansion to visit him. The huge mansion's main door was wide open. The hidden scanning signal scanned Luo Feng, confirming that he had the authority to enter. Naturally, it didn't stop him. Luo Feng sneaked into the mansion and quickly arrived at a plaza that was 10 kilometers long and wide. There were close to 1,000 warriors gathered there, respectfully sitting and listening attentively. At the very front was a golden-armored ape man sitting cross-legged, explaining the 9 universe tablets' 4th picture. Teacher, Luo Feng thought within, not daring to disturb his teacher's lesson. He sat in the corner of the crowd. Tru Yin, who was in the middle of his lecture, glanced at the additional Luo Feng in the crowd. He let out a smile and didn't say much, continuing to lecture. After a while, today's lesson ends here, Tru Yin said indifferently. Thank you, teacher. The thousands of warriors gathered below bowed respectfully. Tru Yin is powerful. I've already comprehended the 5th picture, but after listening to him talk about the 4th picture, I actually feel that my comprehension of the 4th picture has deepened. Looks like I haven't completely comprehended the 4th picture yet. To comprehend, it is extremely hard. I heard that one has to first comprehend the 108 essences of the first 3 pictures. Comprehending those 108 essences is 10 to 100 times harder than normal comprehension of the 4th picture. The warriors discussed amongst themselves and left in groups of 3 to 5. Luo Feng, however, walked toward his teacher. Junior brother, you're here. It's been a few years since I've seen you. The 10 disciples under Tru Yin all smiled and greeted Luo Feng. Luo Feng, too, greeted them one by one. Most of them were official-level undyings. Many of them were even at the pinnacle. It was a pity that none of them were official emperors. Normal pinnacles, if they found someone to help them, they could barely become emperor. Tru Yin had high expectations for his disciples. He didn't even bother to do such things. He felt that it was purely a lie. Luo Feng, follow me, Tru Yin said. Yes, teacher, Luo Feng said respectfully. Senior brothers, junior brother will pay you a visit in a while. Luo Feng bid farewell to the seniors beside him and followed Tru Yin to the courtyard where Tru Yin was meditating. This courtyard was a few km wide, and it was filled with grass. Tru Yin casually sat crossed-legged on the grass. Sit. Luo Feng sat obediently beside him. You've completed the highest points mission? Tru Yin smiled. Luo Feng nodded. Tell me about it, including the final comments, etc. Tru Yin said, yes. Luo Feng said respectfully. The 4th round of the mission is... He explained in detail the points and comments, not hiding anything about how he did the mission. Tru Yin's eyes revealed a look of disdain as he heard. These idiots, do they really want their sons to lock their fathers in jail before they're satisfied? Luo Feng was shocked. His teacher called them idiots? If they don't even protect their loved ones, then what's the point of training? Tru Yin looked at Luo Feng. Luo Feng, stick to your thoughts. Don't get tricked by those bastards. Our virtual universe company's upper echelon management is indeed very rigid. Don't tell me you want all the warriors to become their chess pieces? The reason why the strong are strong is because they are independent. And those in the upper echelons, they only act one way on the surface and another behind the scenes. Luo Feng blinked as he looked at his teacher. Huh? What's the matter? Very shocked. Tru Yin laughed, exclaiming, your teacher has such a temper. Back then, I caused a huge ruckus. Hence, I've been thrown into Primal Chaos City. I don't have any actual authority. However, I'm hiding in Primal Chaos City. I don't listen to their orders unless it's a huge matter. I ignore them. Luo Feng laughed. His teacher had caused a huge ruckus before. Regarding his teacher Tru Yin's matters, he knew very little. How long are you preparing to train in Primal Chaos City this time? Tru Yin asked. Preparing to reach Sector Lord level. Luo Feng said. Ah, you've given up on those missions? Tru Yin was shocked. When he was at the Domain Lord level, the Virtual Universe Company would occasionally give him missions. Up till now, Luo Feng had only done 2. One was 200,000 points, the other was the highest point mission, 2 million points. Actually, there were still other missions after that. However, Luo Feng naturally couldn't accept any missions in Primal Chaos City. Luo Feng nodded. Tru Yin said with a smile, those 106 sets of ordinary secret technique manuals are cheap. They only cost a few million points in total. They're mainly for you to use as a reference. There are research types, weapon creation types, self-created secret techniques, and so on. Luo Feng's eyes flashed and nodded. These 106 sets of secret techniques seem to cover all aspects. As for this set, True Yin pointed at the 3 thick dark golden books that were neatly arranged. This is expensive. The set consisted of 3 volumes. Each volume was a meter long, wide, and half a meter thick. How expensive? Luo Feng asked. 8 billion points. True Yin smiled, simultaneously looking at Luo Feng. Luo Feng's eyes widened. Heavens! 8 billion points. This amount of wealth was enough to make an emperor-level undying go bankrupt. Of course, to the pinnacle of the emperors, even comparable to a normal knight, True Yin was still able to afford it. Even so, to True Yin, it was still a huge amount of wealth. Luo Feng was even more stunned by this amount of wealth. Undyings could use money to exchange for points. 1 mixed element for 1 point. To an undying, this was 8 billion mixed elements. It was simply too huge. Because of Earth, Luo Feng had signed a contract with the virtual universe. However, that money was split into 3 portions. Before becoming an undying, Luo Feng didn't even get 100 million mixed elements. Only by becoming an undying would he be able to get close to 50 billion mixed elements of wealth. However, for the golden horned beast to break through to undying was simply too difficult. Who knew when he would have to wait? Haha, for these 8 billion points, I've already used up more than half of my points. True Yin smiled, not hiding anything from Luo Feng. In the future, when I want to exchange for it myself, I'll probably have to use cash to exchange for points. Teacher, Luo Feng said, I can't accept this. Back then, when his teacher recommended him to buy the time-space scribbles, he said he himself couldn't even afford the entire set, and 1 set cost 100 billion points. From this, one could see that 8 billion points was a huge investment for his teacher. In reality, True Yin naturally didn't have that many points. However, just like how Luo Feng's wealth was mainly in the Luo, Godwater, and close to 10,000 blood river crystals, etc. As an absolute warrior, True Yin naturally had many treasures. His true worth was much higher than normal emperor-level undyings. If he was willing to sell his treasures, he could still gather a huge amount of cash. Right now, Teacher is only 1 step away from Universe Knight. External items are already useless. True Yin shook his head. I haven't spent much in these trillion years. Nurturing you seniors and juniors is still easy for me. However, your seniors, back then I didn't even exceed 1 billion points. You have the most. Luo Feng looked curiously at True Yin. Why? I've seen your blade techniques, your control of the Nan Shun armament, your claw techniques. True Yin said solemnly. I've discovered that you've unintentionally combined the law of metal and the law of space in a very ingenious manner. Therefore, I know of a set of precious secret technique that's very suitable for you. Luo Feng didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Intricately combined? This was because he had always been studying the beast god concept, and the beast god concept was a combination of the law of space and the law of metal to the peak. After grasping a trace of the beast god concept, when he consulted his teacher and practiced it, it would naturally have a trace of charm. This technique is definitely the most suitable for you. The moment you have some accomplishments in the future, your strength will be able to catch up to Teacher. True Yan's eyes were filled with anticipation. If you can catch up to Teacher against normal universe knights, you won't even die. Work hard. True Yan rubbed Luo Feng's head and laughed loudly before vanishing. Luo Feng looked at the box beside 106 normal technique manuals and 1 precious manual, a total of a few hundred books. He was extremely grateful within. Teacher, this favor, your disciple will remember it. Luo Feng was determined. He had to have some accomplishments and repay his teacher in the future. After being together for a long time, True Yan's relatives had all died of old age. Hence True Yan treated his disciples like his own children. The master was like a father, and now he had directly gifted these precious manuals. One had to know that if his disciple were to fall in the future, everything would be for naught. However, True Yin still did this. This was also one of the reasons why True Yan's disciples were so united. No one wanted to make their teacher sad. The 107 manuals had a total of 582 books. Luo Feng swiftly carried the manuals to his study. 106 normal manuals. Buying them from the treasure trove actually requires close to 6 million points. Luo Feng was shocked. These manuals were said to be normal by True Yan, but in truth almost every single one of them was stronger than the illusionary manuals. This set of precious manuals. Luo Feng looked at the 3 dark golden metal books before him. The cover of the 3 books only had a single word. 1, 2, and 3. Obviously, they were books 1 to 3. There were no other words. Luo Feng gently flipped open the cover of the first book. The contents on the first page were the evolution of the primal universe, the trillions of races, the birth of many mysterious life forms. Amongst the many mysterious life forms, there's a powerful beast god. This powerful beast god is a natural absolute being born from the evolution of the universe. Its body is the fusion of the space and gold laws. A casual claw, a tail strike, a charge, all of it contains the laws of the universe. I, Hiroto, have comprehended the beast god's 7 kills, also known as the 7 transformations of the god. Beast god 7 kills, 7 transformations of the god. Training the first 3 levels. 1 would be invincible under the universe lords. Training the first 6 levels. 1 would be invincible under the universe lords. Training the 7th level. 1 would become a true beast god. Like a true beast god, comparable to a true universe lord, standing at the pinnacle of the universe. I created the beast god 7 kills, 7 transformations of the god. However, I've only trained the first 6 levels. The 7th level is just my imagination. It hasn't been truly perfected. To become a true beast god, like a true beast god, invincible. Difficult, difficult, difficult. I hope my Golden Horn clan's future generations can perfect the 7th level and master it. Luo Feng was completely shocked as he looked at the contents. Hiroto? The Golden Horn clan's greatest being's absolute technique? Training the first 6 levels, and 1 would be invincible under the universe lords? The 7th level, and 1 would be comparable to a universe lord? Such a terrifying technique manual. Don't tell me it's not as expensive as the time-space scribbles? That's not right. Luo Feng was shocked. He immediately flipped through the 2nd and 3rd volumes. With a look, he couldn't help but feel a sense of regret. Indeed, the prediction was right. These 3 manuals were only the first 3 levels of the Beast God 7 kills, 7 transformations of the god. They were considered the upper half. So it's just the upper half. Training the first 3 levels, and 1 would be invincible under the universe lords. Reaching the level of my teacher, this upper half is indeed worth 8 billion points. Luo Feng exclaimed. He finally knew how strong the great Hiroto was. No wonder Hiroto could rely on himself to rule the Golden Horn clan without anyone daring to mess with him. So he had already reached a level where he was invincible under the Universe Lords. Universe Lord? Don't tell me the Void Gold Lord, Primal Chaos City Leader, and Beast God are at that level? Luo Feng thought. This chapter took a long time, begging for monthly votes and recommendation votes. Are there any more votes? Chapter 742. Before reading this expensive Beast God 7 kills 1, Luo Feng had already vaguely known that there was an even higher level above the Universe Knights. Like the high and mighty Void Gold Lord, Beast God, Primal Chaos City Leader, they were obviously much stronger than the Universe Knights. Even Hiroto was able to oversee an entire clan. So that's how it is. Luo Feng muttered. Undying, Universe Knight, Universe Lord. The Golden Horn race was a middle-tier race. Back then, with a leader like Hiroto, they didn't need the protection of others. And Hiroto back then trained to the 6th level of the Beast God 7 kills, meaning he was invincible under the Universe Lord level. He had the strength of a true overlord. And Universe Lords, even amongst the pinnacle races, they were the pinnacle beings. According to this basic information and logic, Luo Feng had a very clear understanding of the strong warriors of the vast universe. Teacher, true Yin is considered an absolute warrior. The universe knights are the rulers of a region. The universe lords are the true overlords of the universe. Even at Hiroto's level, he's already considered an overlord. Luo Feng was filled with excitement within, after which he continued to read the thick and precious manuals. The entire Beast God 7 Kills 1 had a total of 3 books. Luo Feng first read it all in one breath. Even though he didn't understand much, he still knew a lot. It actually, merging the origin laws? Luo Feng was shocked within. After reading the entire one, he could clearly understand the theory behind the Beast God 7 Kills. In the universe, there were 10 great laws of origin: metal, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, lightning, light, space, and time. According to the description in Hiroto's secret tome, when the universe was born, there were only 2 powerful laws. One of them was divided into 6 great laws of origin: metal, wood, water, fire, earth, and space. The other law was divided into 4 great laws of origin: wind, lightning, light, and time. Thus, there were 2 factions. Space faction. Space was the upper law. Gold, wood, water, fire, and earth were the lower laws. Time faction. Time was the upper law. Thunder, wind, and light were the lower laws. Completely comprehending the space laws, one was a space knight. Completely comprehending time, one was a time knight. And simultaneously comprehending time and space, truly controlling space and time, having the unbelievable ability to twist space and time, that was the Universe Lord. This was because, among the billions of races and countless experts in the universe, there had never been a life form that had fused the 6 elemental laws of metal, wood, water, fire, earth, and space into one, reverting back to the origin and creating one of the 2 most powerful elemental laws at the beginning of the universe. There had never been a life form that managed to fuse the 4 fundamental laws of time, lightning, wind, light, and time into one. And when they really put it into practice, the universe's trillions of races and countless experts discovered, just fusing metal and space, or wood and space, or water and space, or fire and space, or earth and space, any one of these 5 elements was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Those who could successfully fuse with it would definitely be the overlord of a region in the universe. Once the fusion of metal and space reached a state of perfection, it would form a law of fusion. It was comparable to a universe lord. The beast deity's 7 murders created by Hiroto was also very strange. The first level was a fusion of the law of space and the law of metal. The second floor. The 6th level was the fusion of the entire law of space and the entire law of metal, forming the law of fusion. Back then, when Hiroto reached this level, he could be said to be invincible under the Universe Lord. However, Hiroto knew the powerful life form that was birthed from the birth of the universe, the beast deity, had power comparable to a Universe Lord. And that beast deity was the embodiment of the space and gold laws. Every move naturally contained the fusion laws. Even the statue of the beast deity was infused with the fusion laws. Hence he firmly believed that the gold and space laws should be able to match a universe lord. His own technique, beast deity, 7 murders, should have a 7th level. The 7th level should allow one to become a true beast deity, as if the beast deity was alive, able to match a universe lord. Of course, the 7th level was only Hiroto's deductions and imagination. Hence the entire beast deity 7 murders. Even though it had such a name, in truth there were only 6 levels that could be trained. Comprehending the space laws and becoming a knight is already incredibly difficult. Out of so many absolute geniuses, it's rare for one to become a knight. Luo Feng exclaimed within, and according to what Hiroto said, successfully fusing the space and gold laws, compared to just comprehending the space laws, is thousands to tens of thousands of times harder. This path was very difficult to walk. However, at least Luo Feng already had a very clear and accurate path to follow. The Beast God Path? I have seen your Hiroto's Beast Deity, 7 Murders as a guide, and the Beast God statue support. Luo Feng's mind flashed. Suddenly recalling something, he immersed his consciousness into his internal world. Within the internal world, on the vast grass plains, the black-clothed Luo Feng was holding the Beast God statue with one hand. Beside him, the black mountain-like golden-horned beast laid there, its large lake-like eyes staring at the small statue. This Beast God statue was something Luo Feng had obtained back in Blood River World by chance. In terms of pressure, it couldn't compare to the golden-horned Beast God statue in the canyon. However, it was even more reserved, just like the real Beast God. Howl! The golden-horned beast suddenly raised its head and howled. Its howl was filled with happiness, joy, and excitement. I know. The black-clothed Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. He said excitedly, I finally know why this Beast God statue always has such a special concept, special pressure, because this Beast God statue itself contains the fusion origin laws. The real Beast God's every move contained the fusion laws. The Beast God's body was the embodiment of the fusion laws, and this Beast God statue was a statue from the Blood River world where the Beast God lived. It was unknown how it was made, but it was exactly the same as the real Beast God. The Beast God is the fusion origin law body. Even if this Beast God statue isn't the fusion origin law body, it at least contains the fusion origin laws. No wonder just by searching for that concept and constantly simulating the statue, grasping a sliver of the Beast God conception had such power. So he was studying the fusion origin laws over and over again, simulating it. I have the Beast God statue. This statue itself contains the fusion origin laws. And I have the Beast God 7 Murders. It's extremely precious. The Golden Horn race's most precious technique manual. The black-clothed Luo Feng's eyes were filled with madness. Even though the path of the fusion origin laws is thousands to tens of thousands of times harder than becoming a knight. However, with these two supporting me, I'll definitely have great accomplishments. The Beast God statue and the Beast God 7 Murders. These were all fortuitous encounters. And just having fortuitous encounters wasn't enough. One still needed talent, hard work, luck, and many other aspects. After all, to stand at the pinnacle of the universe, it was simply too difficult. Even though the Beast God statue was special, it was very reserved. The undyings of Blood River World couldn't comprehend it at all. And the Golden Horn Beast was, firstly, the Golden Horn Beast was the darling of the gold origin laws. Secondly, the Golden Horn Beast also had space talent. For example, its natural ability Devourer was a space-type technique. And the Golden Horn Beast had the strongest gold and space bloodlines. The Beast God was the fusion of gold and space. The two had a special connection. Otherwise, the Golden Horn Beast wouldn't have been able to absorb the crystals so easily. Other life forms would find it hard to absorb 10 crystals. The Golden Horn Beast absorbing 100, and that was because its willpower couldn't take it anymore. Otherwise, it could absorb even more. From this, it could be seen that the Golden Horn Beast and the Beast God indeed had some connection. Hence, it could faintly feel the Beast God statue infused with the origin laws. If it wasn't the Golden Horn Beast, other life forms would have to train their origin laws to an extremely high level to understand the uniqueness of the Beast God statue. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to see through the complete and reserved origin laws. Primal Chaos City, Tru Yan's residence. Teacher. Luo Feng bowed gratefully. Sit. Tru Yan sat crossed-legged on the grass. Yes. Luo Feng sat crossed-legged beside him. Have you finished reading the secret technique manual? Tru Yan asked with a smile. Luo Feng nodded. How is it? Is it suitable for you? Tru Yan's eyes were filled with anticipation. Before training, no one knew if it was suitable or not. However, Tru Yan's eyes were very sharp. Usually when he watched Luo Feng train, he realized that Luo Feng had talent in this area. Hence, he bought the first half of the manual. If he were to buy the entire first half, True Yan's entire fortune wouldn't even be worth a tenth of it. Buying the first half was still relatively easy. It's very suitable, Luo Feng said. As long as it's suitable, ha. If it wasn't, my teacher would feel heartache. True Yan laughed loudly. However, my original plan was to stay in Primal Chaos City for a few hundred years, and the origin laws are obviously much harder. I might have to stay for a few thousand years. Luo Feng said. Before, when he told his family he would leave for over 1,000 years. However, that was in the Primal Universe time, and the time flow in the Primal Universe and Primal Universe was different. 1,000 years in the Primal Universe, and 300 years in Primal Chaos City. Hence his original plan was to stay in Primal Chaos City for a few hundred years, but now, it was obviously not enough. No rush, no rush, the foundation has to be solid. True Yin said. Luo Feng nodded. Within he was filled with confidence. Walking the path of the beast god to the pinnacle, he was filled with confidence. All right. True Yin said, Luo Feng, your teacher knows your strength is very strong, exceeding what you revealed to the Virtual Universe Company. Luo Feng laughed. He had often asked his teacher for advice. Naturally, it was revealed in front of him. You don't have to hide your strength, you have to reveal it. True Yin emphasized, if you display overwhelming talent, then the Virtual Universe Company will value you even more. And every sector lord in the Primal region will receive a huge amount of resources to nurture. The stronger you are, the more resources you will receive. If your performance is overwhelming, the moment you break through to Sector Lord, you will immediately receive large amounts of resources. Weak strength, receive little resources. Strong strength, receive more resources. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. Right, he didn't have to be low profile in Primal Chaos City anymore. P.S. First chapter here. Chapter 743. Luo Feng focused on studying the first volume of the Beast God 7 Kills. The first level was to merge part of the space laws and part of the gold laws. Gold laws. Luo Feng had already gained the recognition of the origin laws and was close to completely comprehending the gold laws. In terms of the gold laws, Luo Feng had already fulfilled the requirements of the 5th level of the Beast God 7 Kills. In terms of the space laws, the first level requirement was the first 3 pictures of the 9 universe tablet. Hiroto did it normally back then. He didn't comprehend the 108 essences of the space laws like me. Luo Feng thought. However, according to Senior Hiroto's description in the book, if one comprehends the 108 essences of the space laws and the gold laws, then the first level will be even more powerful. I'll first comprehend the 108 essences of the space laws. Luo Feng thought. Comprehending the essences of the laws was a very disadvantageous path. Like Luo Feng, who had the Masha Clansman and the Golden Horn Beast, and was also a sector lord, his training speed should be extremely fast. 180 years of training in the Golden Horn clan, that was a sector lord. 180 years of training was comparable to tens of thousands of years of training in the domain lord level. Tens of thousands of years of training. With Luo Feng's talent, if he didn't study the space laws and was like a normal warrior studying the 9 universe tablet, he would probably have even comprehended the 4th picture already. Back then, Lien Luo took 3,000 years to comprehend the 108 essences. Before I comprehend the essences, I can't study the 4th and 5th pictures, otherwise there will be disturbances. Luo Feng took a deep breath. He chose this path. It was destined to be difficult. And he chose a path that was even harder than comprehending the origin laws, the path of merging the laws. Come. Luo Feng's eyes were filled with anticipation. After which Luo Feng began his training days in Primal Chaos City. Every day, he would sit crossed-legged on the balcony of his training quarters, occasionally looking up at the sky and observing the laws of the universe. And the Golden Horn Beast was constantly copying the huge Beast God statue and studying the Beast God concept from the smaller statue. The Masha Clansman was also studying the space laws. The 3 combined, and with the Beast God statue's help, He could also observe the laws of the primal universe. Occasionally, he could even head to the city leader's residence to study the primal chaos tablet, and he could also go to any emperor-level undyings to listen to their classes. This training speed was many times faster than in the actual universe. Time flew by. Listening to his teacher's teachings, listening to other titled Emperor Undying's lectures, copying the beast god statue, concentrating on training. Luo Feng was like a precise machine that continuously advanced, and also like a dried-up desert madly absorbing nutrients. In the blink of an eye, close to 90 years had passed. Primal universe time, close to 300 years in the original universe. Primal Chaos City. Within a majestic ancient mansion, there were over 1,000 practitioners sitting crossed-legged on the ground, listening to the long beard and green-scaled old man's lecture. I see. Wonderful. Luo Feng sat crossed-legged in the crowd and listened. He couldn't help but reveal a look of glee. Some of the doubts in his heart had been cleared up. The old man currently lecturing was a warrior that Luo Feng frequently attended classes in the 90 years he was in Primal Chaos City. This warrior was Dragon Yin. He was quite famous in Primal Chaos City. He was definitely the pinnacle of Emperor-level undyings. In terms of strength, he was extremely close to True Yin. True Yin, Dragon Yin, etc. pinnacle Emperor-level undyings. Their lectures would attract many people. Dragon Yin belonged to the Virtual Universe Company camp. He was proficient in the space and gold laws. Hence his lectures were to Luo Feng's liking. Naturally, he often attended. Today we'll end it here. The green-scaled old man smiled and said, his long beard waving slightly as he stood up. Thank you, teacher. The over 1,000 warriors attending the class below, a majority of them were undyings. The rest were geniuses too. They all bowed respectfully and expressed their gratitude. After all, these warriors were teaching for free. They were naturally grateful that they could attend. Dragon Yin smiled and led his personal disciples away. The over 1,000 warriors in the plaza too began to leave in groups of 2 or 3. Ah, Toka, that should be Luo Feng, right? Even though I've heard of his name in the Battle Axe Coliseum, I know he's an extremely talented person. However, this is the first time I've seen him. Oh, right. He should be the Primal Region Domain Leader. You two are a Primal Region Domain Leader. You should be familiar with him. Introduce me to him. In the distance, 2 men were conversing. Of these 2, one was slightly fat. There were 3 feelers on his forehead. His skin was red. He was smiling at Luo Feng's direction. The other was skinny, dressed in a cold black armor. He's indeed a Primal Region Domain Leader. Right now, our Virtual Domain Leader Company has a total of 11 Primal Region Domain Leaders. The skinny man said coldly. He just rose from a universe level. He hasn't even participated in the qualification battles. Hence, I'm not familiar with him at all. Oh, what a pity. The fat man shook his head. What's there to pity about? The skinny man said coldly. "'Tis bro, don't tell me you still care about this Luo Feng. He's also a rare genius." The fat man said, "Humph. He just rose. He hasn't even participated in the Domain Lord qualification battles. And in 18 years, it'll be the Domain Lord qualification battles. The Primal Region Universe level members are all very weak. The strongest has only passed the 8th level of the Heavenly Bridge. And our Domain Lord level, the weakest Primal Region member has passed the 10th level." The skinny man said coldly, "This Luo Feng is destined to be eliminated from the absolute beginning region. He's a newbie. It's normal for him to be temporarily eliminated." The fat man said, "Then we'll wait for him to have enough strength before we talk." The skinny man looked at Luo Feng, smiling coldly. "My teacher even said this Luo Feng's talent is high. He'll definitely get a Primal Region Sector Lord spot. I don't believe it. There are many geniuses at the start, and then they quickly fall." "That's true." The fat man nodded. "What's more, among the 10 seniors of our Domain Lord Primal Region, even though on the surface only one has passed the 11th level, those fellows are all extremely cunning. Even if they have the strength to pass the 11th level, they'll intentionally hide it. When the qualification battles come, we'll catch the others off guard." The skinny man said softly, "I'm sure that there are at least 3 of the 10 elders who can pass through the 11th floor of the Heavenly Bridge. The others have all reached the 10th floor of the Heavenly Bridge a long time ago. Furthermore, each of them has a special secret technique, the fat man nodded. In the qualification battles 18 years from now, 10 seniors and 1 newbie Luo Feng. Watch and see how badly he'll lose. The skinny man said confidently. The fat man laughed. In the distance, Luo Feng's ears twitched as he followed the crowd. He could clearly hear the conversation. Obviously, Toka didn't even try to hide it. These punks, they don't know. I've never even treated them as opponents. Luo Feng thought. Toka, one of the 10 Primal Region Domain Lord Seniors, his strength was extremely strong. Actually, after so many years, Luo Feng realized too, the 10 seniors of the Domain Lord level Primal Region had a certain amount of conflict with him because his rise was too fast. This made many great figures of the Virtual Universe Company believe that Luo Feng was an absolute genius in 10,000 eras, and that he would definitely get a Primal Region Sector Lord spot. Of the 4 great regions, the Primal Region was the most valuable. Universe level, Domain Lord level, Sector Lord level. Obviously, the competition for the Primal Region Sector Lord was the most intense, and it involved large amounts of resources. Because of the large figures praising Luo Feng, naturally it made the other absolute geniuses and the 10 seniors unhappy within. After all, they were all trying to become the Sector Lord of the Primal Region. Looking down on me? Luo Feng shook his head within, mocking within. 18 years from now, it'll be the qualification battles. When that time comes, I'll show them what I'm made of. Luo Feng. Babata's voice resounded in his mind. Even though on the surface you look like a Domain Lord, in truth you're already a Sector Lord. Your training efficiency in a day is equivalent to a year of theirs training till now. With the 3 great bodies and the Beast God statue, you're much stronger than them. Comparing yourself to them is simply bullying. Bullying? Luo Feng laughed. That was bullying. Close to 90 years in Primal Chaos City. Out of the 108 origin laws, Luo Feng had already comprehended a total of 102. In terms of efficiency, it was 30 times that of Lian Luo. The main thing was that Luo Feng had 3 great bodies, all of them extremely powerful, and with the Beast God statue, naturally his efficiency was much higher. I hope I can comprehend the 108 space essences before the qualification battles. Luo Feng thought. The moment he comprehended the 108 essences, then his space law comprehension would be sufficient to pass the 12th level of the Heavenly Bridge. This was what Lian Luo said back then. And Luo Feng himself realized the current him, even if he didn't rely on his shocking spirit energy amplifier, he should already have the ability to pass the 11th level. Let's go to the city leader's residence. Luo Feng turned and headed towards it. Why are we going there? Babata asked. To study the 9 universe tablet. Luo Feng smiled. But you've already used up all your chances. Babata said. After coming to Primal Chaos City for close to 90 years, Luo Feng hadn't attempted the Heavenly Bridge once. Hence, he only had 2 more chances to study the 9 universe tablet, and 30 years ago he used up his last chance. Very simple. I'll try the Heavenly Bridge again. Luo Feng smiled. From here to the city leader's residence, it's about enough for me to pass the 12th level. Immediately, Luo Feng's consciousness connected to the virtual universe network. Heavenly Bridge. On that beautiful island, Defender Bevan had been waiting here for countless years. Suddenly, a silhouette appeared in the center of the island. It was a black, short-haired youth. Luo Feng. Defender Bevan smiled, dressed in a fiery red long robe. He smiled and walked over. Lord Defender, you've changed your robe. Luo Feng smiled. Haha, I can't just not change forever. Defender Bevan smiled. It's been a long time since I've seen you. Ever since you passed the 7th level, you haven't come back. In the blink of an eye, a few hundred years have passed. I know you, it's fine if you don't do it, but once you do it, it'll be shocking. How are you going to shock me this time? Directly past the 9th level? Or did you pass the 10th level of the Great Barrier? Right now, many of the Domain Lord Primal Region members had only passed the 10th level. Luo Feng had only trained for a few hundred years. Defender Bevan mocked Luo Feng too. He didn't think Luo Feng could really be that powerful. Luo Feng smiled. You'll be surprised. Ah. Defender Bevan was shocked. Then I'll wait and see. Luo Feng smiled and became a beam of light flying towards the 9-universe heavenly bridge. Author's note: 2 chapters completed. The train journey took 8 hours. There were only 2 chapters left today. The 2 chapters he applied for yesterday would be made up for in the next few days. Chapter 744. Luo Feng stood before the 9-universe heavenly bridge. Looking at the endless bridge, he smiled. Old friend, it's been a long time since I've come here to play. Since I have to shock the heavens and earth, then I'll go all out and show my strength. So, immediately he became a golden beam of light and vanished into the distance, beginning the heavenly bridge. When Luo Feng began, the watchman Bevan began to send out a group mail. Hailed as an absolute genius of 10,000 eras, there are so many big shots that value him. The watchman Bevan muttered, They've all ordered me to inform them the moment he attempts the heavenly bridge. Immediately, 10 mails were sent out. Back in the batch of geniuses Luo Feng participated in, there were 3 exceptional geniuses. One was Bolin, another was Rong Jun, and the last was Luo Feng. Bolin and Luo Feng were recognized as geniuses of 10,000 eras. As for Rong Jun, the upper echelon of the virtual universe company viewed him as a treasure, fighting to take him in as a disciple. However, at least for now, amongst the 3 absolute geniuses, Luo Feng was at the lead. Jade extended her crystal finger and gently tapped in space. A screen appeared and the mail appeared. Luo Feng has attempted the heavenly bridge. A strange smile appeared on Jade Monarch's beautiful face. She said in a low voice, This little guy never stops until he startles people to death. The other geniuses in the same batch as him often challenge the heavenly bridge, especially that Bolin. He has already passed the 8th level. I wonder how many levels he can pass this time. The 9th level? Or the unbelievable 10th? Jade smiled and immediately rushed towards the heavenly bridge. True Yin Emperor, Jade Emperor, Tainan Emperor, Beitsong Ho, a total of 86 undyings. Over half of them were Emperor level. The rest were official level. These 86 arrived within 10 seconds of each other. On the island of the heavenly bridge, True Yin and the group of powerful undyings gathered. Haha, so many people. True Yin smiled and looked around. True Yin, who asked you to raise such an exceptional disciple? A golden-eyed huge man with a face full of golden needles smiled. The knight ordered me to pay attention to this punk. I don't dare slack off at all. As a matter of fact, the moment I knew this Luo Feng wanted to pass the heavenly bridge, I immediately came to watch the live broadcast. That's right, we're all following the supremacy's orders. The king and Marquis laughed. The atmosphere was quite good. True Yin smiled and turned to look at Jade beside him, mocking, Jade, you have to tell this news to Nine-Blade Knight. With so many powerful beings staring at Luo Feng, Nine-Blade Knight will definitely feel some pressure. Don't wait for this disciple of mine to have great accomplishments in the future and be poached away by the other powerful beings. If it belongs to the Venerable, then it belongs to the Venerable. No one can take it away. Jade Emperor's eyes swept across the group of undyings, causing them to laugh out loud. The Universe Knights, Universe Country leaders of the Virtual Universe Company competed with each other. They had more experts under them, more troops. Naturally, it was different. And if he could get more peak Emperor undyings, maybe one of them could break through to become a Universe Knight. Forming cliques, the Venerables of the Universe also formed cliques. And there were many things that Universe Knights couldn't do. Hence, it was important to have powerful subordinates. Normal Emperor undyings are hard to poach. However, when this Luo Feng reaches the level of his teacher, True Yin, he'll be able to form his own faction. A black-veiled lady with a snake tail smiled. Even Nine-Blade Knight won't be able to stop him. When the time comes, the other knights and country leaders will all use their methods to attract him. It's hard to say who he won't join. You really think highly of Luo Feng. Jade looked over. At least, there's this possibility. The black-veiled lady smiled. Everyone, what do you think? Which level can Luo Feng pass this time? At least the 8th level. Bolin from that genius competition has already passed the 8th level. I think it'll probably be the 9th. This Luo Feng's habits are shocking. Hm, I think it'll probably be the 9th too. He's at the peak of the 9th level. Every 3 levels have a checkpoint. It's unlikely he'll reach the 10th. The 9th. Who knows? He might even reach the 10th. When that time comes, everyone's eyeballs might fall out for shock. Tru Yen, you tell us. A large group of emperors and officials all represented the Universe Knights. Even if the officials were weak, they could still receive such a thing. Obviously, they were all trusted aides. Hence, everyone chatted happily. Seems like the majority of them are on the 9th level. True, Yin seemed to have a smile that didn't seem like a smile. He gazed at the crowd. Everyone just watch. Ah, the battle has begun. Following which, the 86 Undyings all turned to look at the screen. On the screen, Luo Feng had just flown to the end of the 8th level. After exchanging a few words with the blue-clothed meteorite opponent, he immediately made his move. The battle lasted a while before it ended. He passed the 8th level. He didn't even beat the 8th level opponent easily. I think the 9th level will be difficult. The 86 Undyings watched the screen in disgust. However, very quickly they went silent. The 9th level opponent was still using the Nan Shan Armament's 6th level Blade World. It had already reached the completion level. Luo Feng used the Blade World to exchange 10 rounds with the opponent. After carefully feeling the opponent's attacks, only then did he defeat the opponent. 9th level passed. 10th level, the opponent was the yellow-clothed man. He unleashed the Nanshan Armament's 7th level, one rod blasting land and land. This was actually an evolved version of the Blade World. Luo Feng, too, exchanged 10 rounds with the opponent before fiercely using his strength to kill him. 10th level passed. 11th level, the yellow-clothed man unleashed the Nanshan Armament's 8th level golden blade, slicing through space. Luo Feng still exchanged 10 rounds before killing him. 11th level passed. On the island of the Heavenly Bridge, the gathered large group of Undyings were silent. They all stared shocked at the screen, their eyes filled with shock and disbelief. Was that possible? In a short few hundred years, he went from the 7th level of the Heavenly Bridge to the 11th level. And all the Undyings could see that this Luo Feng was obviously going easy on his opponent. Every battle, he exchanged 10 rounds before killing him. Obviously, even the 11th level opponent didn't give him much pressure at all. My God, how can this be? How can his improvement speed be so fast? Not mentioning Domain Lord level. Even if he was Sector Lord level, he wouldn't be able to improve so much in a short few hundred years. Terrifying. Too terrifying. These Emperor and official levels were all shocked. Luo Feng's improvement speed had already exceeded the limits of absolute geniuses, even exceeding the definition of a monster. It should be called monster. A peerless genius monster that surpassed everyone's imagination and the rules of normal development. Just like Kadi back then, Universe level, Domain Lord and Sector Lord level, he still successfully passed the Primal Sky Mountain. And at Sector Lord Pinnacle, he was comparable to an Emperor level Undying, at the same time killing an official level. This was a monstrous being. In terms of strength, Luo Feng naturally couldn't compare to Kadi. However, in terms of a few hundred years, his improvement speed was far beyond. Don't tell me he can even pass the 12th level of the Heavenly Bridge? Don't tell me comprehending the origin laws is as easy as drinking water for him. How can that be? There has to be a limit. Right now, our virtual universe company domain Lord Primal Region members, the strongest of the 10 seniors, have only passed the 11th level, and they've trained for tens of thousands of years. Don't tell me this Luo Feng's few hundred years of training can catch up to the other absolute geniuses who trained for tens of thousands of years. That's impossible. These Undyings all held their breaths. The Heavenly Bridge island was dead silent. No one spoke. They all stared hard at the screen. The heavenly bridge's 7 to 9 levels were in space, and the 10 to 12 levels were in a planet's body. The bridge extended from the planet's core and magma all the way to the surface. On the surface, Luo Feng stood at the end of the 12th level, gazing down at the vast land below. I finally reached the surface. The ground beneath the heavenly bridge trembled slightly, and at the same time, a rumbling sound could be heard. Choose your opponent: martial artist, controller, or illusionist. Choose one and defeat him to pass the 12th level. Controller, Luo Feng said. Rumble, the ground trembled. Countless yellow lights flew out from everywhere and swiftly gathered in midair. In an instant, it became a mysterious warrior dressed in a yellow armor and mask. He carried a dark golden long rod on his back and stood on the dark cloud shuttle. He looked at Luo Feng and said solemnly, "A domain lord is actually able to pass the 12th level. You are very outstanding. Right now, not a single domain lord of the Virtual Universe Company has passed this level." "Then I'll break this record." Luo Feng smiled. "You're quite confident," the yellow-armored man said coldly. "I'll still use the Nanshan Armament's 8th level golden blade slicing through space. However, it's much stronger than the one on the 11th level. You have to be careful." "Come," Luo Feng smiled. "Rumble, rumble." Luo Feng and the yellow-armored man's back simultaneously shone with tens of thousands of golden lights. Every 81 of them swiftly formed a little golden blade. At the same time, 108 small golden swords appeared around the two of them. At the same time, the small golden swords drew out many golden threads. Powerful ripples of law surrounded the surroundings. The law of space and the law of metal were incomparably harmonious at this moment, quickly fusing with each other. "Fuse!" Luo Feng and the yellow-armored man shouted at the same time. The 108 little golden blades immediately gathered and became a 2.8 m long golden broadsword. Before the two of them floated a golden broadsword. Wung, wung, wung. The golden broadsword before Luo Feng slightly trembled. Spirit energy amplitude. Explode. Luo Feng felt that controlling the golden broadsword was rather taxing. He immediately raised it to 1201 breath, and it became much easier. Just like a normal person, lifting a barbell was taxing. However, if one's strength suddenly increased by 12 times, lifting the barbell would be too easy. When he was outside, he didn't update regularly. After 2 days, Tomato would return home. If he missed any updates, he would make up for it all. Last night, Dragon Travel, Right Hand, and Moon, the 3 alliance leaders were giving out monthly votes. With such support, Tomato would feel bad if he didn't work hard. Tomato also asked his brothers to check if they had any monthly votes. Right now, the competition was very intense. Tomato needed everyone's support. Monthly votes. Monthly votes. Monthly votes. I want monthly votes. Chapter 745. Luo Feng stood on the dark cloud shuttle, 1,200 threads of spirit energy infused into the Nanshan Armament Golden Blade, precisely controlling the entire blade's complicated origin law engravings. Immediately connecting to the universe space and gold laws, he looked at the yellow-clothed man and roared, "Space slash!" Hua! The golden blade was extremely strong and indestructible. The surrounding space warped. This golden blade followed the universe space's most exquisite curve, as though following the space ripples through the gaps. What appeared to the naked eye, however, was a golden thread slicing through space, leaving a clear and visible mark in the sky. Obviously, any stronger and it would be able to slice through space. Hua! The yellow-clothed man, too, stood on the dark cloud shuttle, controlling the golden blade. He, too, was as fast as lightning. The 2 golden blades clashed in midair. Just like 2 absolute swordsmen clashing time and time again, Luo Feng and the yellow-clothed man had already reached a godly level of control over the golden blade. The golden blade was already so fast that in mid-air, there were only 2 golden threads that were hard to discern with the naked eye. The 2 threads were constantly elongated, covering the entire sky. Clash after clash. It was extremely intense. This scene caused the Undyings watching the broadcast to be completely shocked. This was the result of the Nan Shan Armament's 8th level Golden Blade / Void reaching completion. The moment the Golden Blade was unleashed, one couldn't even see the blade. Only a golden thread could be seen. This thread was created by slicing through space. Luo Feng and the yellow-clothed man were both Domain Lord level 9. Hence, they could only leave a mark in space. If they were Sector Lords, their spirit energy quality would be 1,000 times stronger. Using the Golden Blade / Void, they would definitely be able to slice through space like tofu. This was considered a skill only very few Sector Lords had. However, Luo Feng already had it at Domain Lord level 9. Haha, it's brutal and perfect. Not bad. After exchanging 10 moves, Luo Feng finally understood his opponent's abilities, finally laughing loudly. Simultaneously, his spirit energy amplitude rose from 1200 to 1600. Xiao! A golden thread was even faster and instantly pierced through the yellow-clothed man's body. It was so fast that the yellow-clothed man couldn't dodge at all. Pa 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 pa. The yellow-robed man's body instantly disintegrated into hundreds of pieces like tofu. In an instant, the sharp sword chi contained in the golden sword crazily cut him into pieces, and his life core was pierced. The 12th level. Pass. 13th level. Luo Feng took a deep breath, his eyes filled with desire and madness. Rumble, the bridge that had reached its end continued to extend beyond the planet. The 10th, 11th, and 12th levels were respectively a planet's core, magma layer, and surface. As the saying goes, there are 3 levels to a checkpoint. The 13th floor, the sky-crossing bridge, on the other hand, led directly to the fixed star in space. Clearly, the battlefield had been moved to the fixed star. Luo Feng followed the endless bridge and the fiery star it connected to. He smiled and swiftly followed the bridge, heading towards the 13th level. On the central island of the sky-piercing bridge, the 86 Undyings watched Luo Feng exchanging 10 moves with his opponent and killing him. All of them were stunned. The 12th level of the sky-piercing bridge. This Luo Feng specially picked a controller that was at a disadvantage. He actually succeeded? Jade was shocked within. She was truly shocked. Luo Feng's improvement speed had already reached an unbelievable level, completely beyond her comprehension. Difficult? Don't tell me. Jade looked at the screen as Luo Feng continued to advance towards the 13th level, her eyes filled with shock. He still wants to pass the 13th level? At this time, it wasn't just Jade. All the Undyings present, including Luo Feng's teacher Tru Yin, were all shocked. Tru Yin muttered within, Luo Feng usually asks me for guidance. I feel that it's already not bad if he can barely pass the 12th level. However, from the looks of it, it wasn't too hard for him to pass the 12th level. Don't tell me he can still pass the 13th level? Not possible. Not possible. Impossible. How can it be? The group of Undyings didn't dare believe that Luo Feng could pass the 13th level. However, no one dared to make a 100% guarantee, because Luo Feng had continuously passed the 8th to 12th level, and then the 5th level. That calm and natural, he fought for 10 moves before killing his opponent in one strike. This calm confidence had completely infected them, causing them to be unsure if Luo Feng could pass the 13th level. However, logically, everyone felt that it was impossible. Every 3 levels of the sky-piercing bridge had a huge checkpoint, 1 to 3, 4 to 6, 7 to 9, 10 to 12. Obviously, the 12th to 13th level was a huge obstacle. It was extremely hard to pass. The difficulty was extremely high too. Luo Feng's attempt this time. Many Undyings thought that he wouldn't even be able to pass the 10th level. However, he actually passed the 12th level. One had to know that the Domain Lord level Primal Region members, the strongest of the 10 seniors, had only passed the 11th level, and those seniors had trained for tens of thousands of years. How long had Luo Feng taken? That was too sick. Passing the 12th level was fine, but did Luo Feng think he could pass the next huge checkpoint and pass the 13th level? The sky-piercing heavenly bridge pierced through space from a planet to a star. Luo Feng swiftly flew to the surface of the star. Choose your opponent, fighter, controller, hypnotist. Pick one and defeat him to pass the 13th level. A low rumbling voice resounded throughout the entire star. Controller. Luo Feng held his breath. He didn't have any confidence in passing the 13th level. Only by comprehending 108 essences would he be able to match up to the 12th level. Right now, he had only comprehended 102 space essences. In terms of space law comprehension, he was only at the 11th level of the sky piercing. Relying on his spirit energy amplitude of 1600, he could defeat the 12th level opponent. And the 13th level opponent, his strength was truly heaven-defying. Could he still win? I'll give it my all. Let's see the results of my 90 years in Primal Chaos City. Luo Feng stared ahead. Rumble. The blazing flames on the surface of the star suddenly exploded into a ball of fire. This ball of fire directly floated above the sky-crossing bridge and then condensed into a fiery red armored masked man. He had fiery red armor and fiery red hair. He carried a dark gold long staff on his back and stood on a dark cloud shuttle. A pair of golden eyes stared at Luo Feng. A domain lord actually attempting the 13th level. It's been a very long time since I've done so. The flame-armored man looked at Luo Feng, his voice loud and clear. Then I'm here to break the record. Luo Feng smiled. The 13th level is much harder than the 12th, little punk. I hope you can withstand it. The flame-armored man smiled. I believe you've guessed it. I'll be using the last level of the Nan Shan armament's 9 levels, even undying enemies. Luo Feng squinted. This punk actually knew how to unleash the Nan Shan armament's strongest move. Nan Shan armament, also known as Hun Tian Yen, its full name was 9 stages Hun Tian Yen. When used, there were 9 stages, starting from the first stage, illusory sword form. The strongest 9th stage was even an undying enemy. Even many Pinnacle Sector Lords found it hard to master the 9th level. They probably wouldn't even be able to master it by the time they became undyings. Begin. Luo Feng held his breath. I have to go all out. Victory or defeat. It all depends on luck. Very good. You seem to have some fighting spirit. The flame-armored man laughed loudly. Rumble. The dark golden long rod on the flame battle-armored man's back suddenly exploded, and countless small golden swords flew away. Countless golden lights started to form a very strange and bizarre combination in midair. It was completely different from the previous Nan Shan armament 8-stage combination. This was the true, strongest combination of the entire Nan Shan armament. In that instant, a completely dark golden, seemingly normal 3m long golden blade floated in mid-air. This blade floated in mid-air, faintly discernible, almost as though it could disappear into space at any moment. Nan Shan armament's 9th level. Even undying enemies. Actually, the reason why this move was called even undying enemies was because when a Sector Lord Pinnacle unleashed this move, it could directly allow the Nan Shan armament to instantly pierce through space, almost like teleportation, suddenly disappearing and reappearing at a certain point, executing an instant assassination. The weapon pierced through space, faintly discernible. Naturally, it was much simpler than the physical body teleportation. Hence, with the space laws at the 13th level and the gold laws at their pinnacle, they could barely unleash the basic power of this move. Even at its basic power, this move could be called even undying enemies. Because when a Sector Lord Pinnacle unleashed this move, that powerful attack and the sudden piercing of the golden blade, even normal undyings had to be careful, not daring to recklessly increase their speed to chase after the opponent. If they accidentally increased their speed to chase after a Sector Lord, and a golden blade suddenly appeared before them, even if the undying didn't die, he would still be heavily injured. And this made it so that the undying couldn't use his fastest speed to chase after the Sector Lord. Therefore, this move could be called even the undying can be defeated. When the dark golden long rod on the back of the flame-armored man exploded, transforming into the perfect form of the Nan Shan armament, a 3m long golden blade. At the same time, Luo Feng went all out. Rumble. The dark golden long rod on Luo Feng's back shot out countless golden lights, forming 108 little golden blades, swiftly forming a 2.8 m long golden broad blade. Obviously, it was unleashing the 8th level golden blade, slicing through space. After all, Luo Feng had no way of unleashing the 9th level. The peak of the 8th level, it can still beat the 9th. Luo Feng howled within. Rumble. Within the internal world, the golden-horned beast raised its head and roared, unleashing its natural talent strengthening. Rumble. His spirit energy amplitude immediately rose from 1,600 to 3,200, reaching its limit. I've painstakingly copied the Beast God statue for 90 years in Primal Chaos City, simultaneously watching the universe laws revolve, comparing them. These 90 years is comparable to the 900 years in the actual universe. After such a long period of training, I've grasped the strongest Beast God conception. Even though I don't understand the mysteries of the laws within, after at least 1 trillion carvings, I can unleash this Beast God conception. Luo Feng's eyes were filled with madness. Kill. Maximum spirit energy, maximum control. Pursuing that terrifying will of the Beast God, the 2.8-meter-long golden broadsword instantly tore through the vast sky, clashing with the 3-meter-long golden sword that had appeared soundlessly in the perfect form of the Nan Shan armament, instantly in the outer space of the star for the first time. A needle against an on. Rumble. 2 chapters completed. Chapter 746. The 2 golden blades clashed immediately. The universe space that trembled under the sun's flames immediately exploded, revealing a black hole that could be seen with the naked eye. Many of the weaker universe spaces were immediately torn apart. Countless space shards whistled past like a storm. The black hole that had just formed swiftly disappeared. The broad blade in mid-air was knocked back a few thousand km, after which it flashed again and tore a ravine in mid-air, directly slashing towards the 3.3 m long Nanshan golden blade. That Nanshan golden blade was knocked back over 10,000 kilometers, after which it flashed and flew back again. I have the advantage. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed as he saw this. Actually, the opponent was able to unleash the Nan Shan armament's perfect form, the perfect 3.3 m long Nan Shan golden blade formed from 10,081 little golden blades. However, he didn't unleash the legendary ability to travel through space. And if the opponent was a Sector Lord Pinnacle, then with his Pinnacle world energy, he would be able to use the perfect Nan Shan golden blade to travel through space, disappearing and reappearing at random times, unpredictable and unpredictable. However, the opponent was only a Domain Lord level 9, hence he couldn't use the perfect Nan Shan golden blade to travel through space. The logic was simple. Basic strength was very important. Even if there was a Star Traveler level monster that could unleash the Nan Shan armament's 9th level, it would at most be able to form the Nan Shan armament. And with a Star Traveler level spirit energy, the Nan Shan armament's flying speed would be pitifully slow. It wouldn't be able to keep up with the Sector Lord's movement speed. Of course, if the opponent was at a disadvantage, Luo Feng would too. The body Luo Feng used in the virtual universe was a body that was unified by the virtual universe. A Domain Lord level 9 spirit energy compared to a Sector Lord Pinnacle. The difference in strength was 1,000 times. If Luo Feng reached the Sector Lord Pinnacle, using the terrifying Beast God conception to control the broad blade, its power would be ridiculously strong. Bang, 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 bang. In the space outside the stars, the broad blade and the Nan Shan golden blade clashed time and time again. The Nan Shan golden blade was sinister, cold, almost like a patient assassin. It was unpredictable, appearing and disappearing in a flash. But once it grasped the opportunity, it would strike fiercely. The broad-hilt golden sword was incomparably tyrannical, like a true overlord, faintly possessing a trace of the Beast God's tyrannical aura. It was as though it was rampaging through space, slashing and stabbing time and time again. Of course, in terms of spirit weapon control, it seemed crude and simple, but in truth it had a trace of returning to the basics. The battle between the two golden swords was a battle between an assassin and an overlord. And obviously, the overlord had the upper hand. This is the true power of the golden sword cutting through the void. It contains absolute tyranny, absolute will, and with a single slash, the space of the universe will be split apart. Luo Feng was completely immersed in his grasp of the beast god concept. Every time the golden blade slashed through the sky, it would leave behind a space ravine. Every time the golden blade clashed, it would cause space to collapse. Fight! The broad-hilted golden sword clearly had the upper hand. It suppressed its opponent time and time again, forcing the opponent's flowing god golden sword to continuously retreat, and its range became smaller and smaller. Die! Luo Feng's eyes flashed. He was sure it was time to kill. Xiao! The broad-hilted golden sword was like a sharp golden thread that cut through the air. At the same time, it stabbed toward the opponent, flame armor. The flowing god golden sword tried to block. However, the broad-hilted golden sword dodged and continued to stab at the flame-armored man. It was a method of mutual destruction. You stab me. I don't care. I just want to stab you to death. No. The flame-armored man stepped on the dark cloud shuttle and retreated, controlling the flowing god golden sword to stab at the distant Luo Feng. Unfortunately, during the previous battles, Luo Feng had long suppressed the opponent's flowing god golden sword to a very small area around the flame-armored man. Hence, the broad-hilted golden sword instantly reached him, and the flowing god golden sword required a long time to reach Luo Feng. With such a long time difference, it would also decide the outcome of this battle. Puchi! The broad-hilted golden sword whistled through the flame-armored man's body. Countless strong blade energy immediately caused his body to crumble and his life core to shatter. 13th level. Pass. On the center island of the Heavenly Bridge, the 86 Undyings looked up at the screen. When Luo Feng finally killed his opponent and passed the 13th level, all of the Undyings, including True Yin, were shocked. A domain lord passing the 13th level? How long had it been? Of course, there had been such absolute geniuses in history. However, every single one of them were famous figures. And those domain lord geniuses in history, 99% of them had trained longer than Luo Feng. After all, to be able to pass the 13th level in a short few hundred years, those domain lord level absolute geniuses who trained for tens of thousands of years to reach the 11th level. However, they were domain lord level absolute geniuses. The 11th and 13th level were two completely different concepts. Especially the 12th to 13th level, it was a huge barrier. Breaking through is extremely difficult. It's only been a few hundred years. This Luo Feng, he actually passed the 13th level. From the 8th to the 13th, he passed 6 levels. The group of Undyings, including the watchman Bevan, all held their breaths as they watched. So much so that no one even spoke. They were completely shocked by Luo Feng passing 6 levels, creating miracles time after time. In front of such a shocking, monstrous performance, they couldn't even speak. Luo Feng stood at the end of the 13th level. Simultaneously, the bridge continued to extend into the star. I had a hard time winning the 13th level. My advantage is already very small. I don't have much hope in the 14th level. Even though I don't have any confidence, I still have to try. Luo Feng swiftly flew up the 14th level and continued to fly in, very quickly entering the star's flames, going deeper and deeper into the sea of flames. Even though it was incomparably hot, to a domain lord level 9's body quality, it was nothing. After all, a domain lord level 9's flying speed exceeded 10,000 kilometers per second. Even universe levels could battle on a white dwarf star. One could only imagine how strong a domain lord level 9's body was. Chi chi chi. Endless flames surrounded him. The 14th level had already reached its end. Luo Feng stood there, once again choosing the controller as his opponent. This time his opponent was still the flame-armored man. to be able to pass the 13th level as a domain lord. Your future is limitless. The flame-armored man's golden eyes looked at Luo Feng. If you choose the controller from the 13th to the 15th level, you'll be using the Nanshan armament's 9th level. However, the same move. The difference in power is huge. If you didn't hold back before, then you have no chance of winning. Luo Feng smiled as he listened. Even undyings can fight. This was the Nanshan armament's strongest and most perfect move. Just like the Blade World move, the 7th to the 9th level all use this move. Even undyings can fight. The 13th to 15th level all use this move. It was within expectations. Rumble. Both unleashed the Nanshan armament simultaneously. They instantly clashed. Chi. That Nanshan golden blade first brushed past Luo Feng's broad blade, after which it slightly shook, fast as lightning, elusive and swift, instantly piercing through Luo Feng's body, tearing him apart. A brush, a swing, a stab. Luo Feng didn't even have a chance to struggle before he was defeated. Indeed, it's the same as what I read in the basics of the 36 levels of the Evolved God. The Undying is also split into many levels of power. Luo Feng thought within, after which he was kicked out of the Heavenly Bridge. Luo Feng lost. The Heavenly Bridge had officially ended. He failed at the 14th level. When the 86 Undyings on the center island of the Heavenly Bridge, along with the Watchman Bevan, saw Luo Feng finally fail at the 14th level, the nervous and silent gods finally let out a long sigh of relief. He finally lost. He can lose too. The many Undyings all laughed, even mocking and discussing. However, following which, the group of Undyings were filled with endless shock. They were actually suppressed by Luo Feng's monstrous performance. One couldn't blame the Undyings. The main thing was that Luo Feng's performance this time was simply too terrifying. How many levels did the entire Heavenly Bridge have? Reaching the 18th level, one would be at the Emperor level. Reaching the 15th level, one would be at the official level. Reaching the 10th level, one would be at the most normal, undying level. Of course, law comprehension didn't mean a sector lord was weaker than an undying. Many sector lords would become official or even emperor the moment they became undyings. Luo Feng passed the 13th level in one go. If it was a sector lord that had trained for hundreds of thousands of years passing the 13th level, it wouldn't be shocking at all. However, the domain lord that had trained for hundreds of years doing so, that was something that surpassed logic and imagination. True Yin, congrats. Huh, to have such a good disciple. Congrats. The group of Undyings all laughed. Ha ha ha. True Yin was incomparably happy, thinking within, this punk really hit it well. I think he must have had some special encounters. Usually, he only asks me about his true law comprehension, and when he passed the Heavenly Bridge, he should have used some special technique to increase his strength. What a monster, passing the 13th level in a short few hundred years. Back then when he first came to Primal Chaos City, he couldn't even pass the first level. Jade. True Yin looked at Jade Monarch. You have to be careful. There will definitely be many universe paragons interested in my disciple. Queen Jewel glanced at True Yin. Shua. He vanished into thin air, obviously rushing to report to Nine Blade Knight. She was clear. Luo Feng's monstrous performance was enough to shock those absolute beings. Following which, the other Undyings all swiftly left to report. True Yin, however, laughed happily and left too. Only the Watchman Bevan was left on the island. He took a deep breath. This Luo Feng's performance is simply too. Watchman Bevan secretly began to send out a mass mail. Such an absolute being that only appeared in 10 million eras, he naturally didn't dare to not report it. What did you say? Nine Blade Knight sat high in his throne. At this time, he too stood up fiercely and looked down at Jade. Luo Feng has passed 6 levels consecutively. He's already passed the 13th, Jade said respectfully. Knight, it's not a lie. This Luo Feng has indeed passed the 13th level in one go. I know the Domain Lord Primal Region's 10 strongest elders have only passed the 11th level. Knight, you can watch. this is the video. A few hundred years, compared to the domain Lord absolute geniuses who have trained for tens of thousands of years. He's 100 times stronger? Is he a Kadi-level absolute being? The group of Undyings and Watchman Bevan's report made the news of this heavenly bridge pass instantly spread throughout the upper echelon of the Virtual Universe Company. The monthly votes were only 400 votes away from number 1. Brothers Mighty Tomato hoped to get to number 1. Chapter 747. Such a miraculous matter. The speed at which it spread was extremely shocking. The group of Undyings couldn't help but tell their friends about it. Hence, within a short half an hour, the news of Luo Feng, this little punk that had trained for a few hundred years, passing the 13th level of the Heavenly Bridge, had already spread like wildfire, and the main character of this miracle, Luo Feng, wasn't excited at all. I won't study the 9 universe tablet for now. Luo Feng, who was on the path towards the city leader's residence, suddenly stopped, frowning. I've just passed 6 levels. I've gained quite a bit of comprehension. I'll go back and think about it first. After which I'll go to the city leader's residence to study the 9 universe tablet. After which he turned and walked towards his own training quarters. Every time he challenged the Heavenly Bridge, he would spar with his opponents for tens of rounds. He was able to clearly see how his opponents used the Nan Shan armament. These opponent styles were all different from Luo Feng's, giving him a lot of inspiration. On the quiet balcony of the training quarters, Luo Feng leapt up and landed on it, sitting cross-legged and meditating, reflecting on the battle. Reflecting on the battle was very important. Hence Luo Feng immediately shut off the Virtual Universe Network to prevent anyone from disturbing him. Who? Faint chaos energy floated about. Luo Feng calmly reflected. What he didn't know was that he had already caused a huge storm. Virtual Universe, Thunder Island, 9-Blade Knight's Shrine. Dressed in a green battle robe, his head was covered in purple scales. 9-Blade Knight frowned as he stood there. Knight, this Luo Feng is too terrifying. Many absolute geniuses are strong at the start, but the further they go, the more they fall. However, the more he improves, the more shocking it gets. It's only been a few hundred years since he was born, and he's already able to pass the 13th level. He's definitely an absolute genius of over 10 million eras. The other knights and universe country leaders will definitely be willing to take him as a disciple. When that time comes, the teacher and disciple relationship. Luo Feng will probably end up under someone else. Knight, you can't hesitate anymore. Jade stood aside anxiously. 9-Blade Knight raised his hand and pressed down. Jade's words were immediately stuck in her throat. She didn't dare speak anymore. I understand. 9-Blade Knight nodded. But Queen Jade was anxious. Jade Queen was the number 1 king, ranked undying under 9-Blade's Venerable. Hence, 9-Blade's Venerable would treat Jade Queen very warmly. The two of them would often discuss some issues. Although Venerable 9 Swords was often the one giving the orders, it was usually Queen Jadeite who was in charge of coordinating and leading the army under his command. Venerable 9 Swords shook his head and smiled. How could I not know? Bolin has cultivated for almost the same amount of time as him. However, he had just passed the 8th level. He could be considered the most outstanding amongst the universe levels. However, Luo Feng had already passed the 13th level. He was 1,000 times stronger than Bolin. Bolin is a 1 in 10,000 eras. This Luo Feng is naturally a 1 in 10 million eras. But take a look. In the history of the human race, which one of them can be said to have appeared once every 10 million epochs? Which one of them didn't attract the pursuit of many powerful figures? I know this, so Luo Feng definitely knows this too. 9-Blade Knight shook his head. Otherwise, he wouldn't have not replied when I personally sent him an email. Venerable, you sent an email? Jade Monarch was startled. He did not expect Venerable Lord 9 Swords to act so quickly. He didn't reply. How would he dare not reply? Jade Monarch was shocked. Venerable Lord's email, of course he wouldn't dare to not reply. However, he's closed the Virtual Universe Network. 9-Blade Knight shook his head. Since he's closed the Virtual Universe Network, naturally he can't receive any emails, hence I can't blame him. Jade Monarch was shocked. Good punk. This Luo Feng was cunning enough. He probably had already predicted that many powerful figures would invite him or take him as a disciple. And Luo Feng's position was too low, he didn't dare to reject any of them. Hence, he decided to temporarily close the virtual universe network. This way, he wouldn't offend anyone. After a period of time, he would open the virtual universe network and receive large amounts of emails for which he could choose. Cunning enough, Jade Monarch said softly. Such a genius, he definitely has some tricks up his sleeves. Nine-Blade Knight shook his head and smiled. Relax, I'm after all his direct subordinate knight. If he receives so many emails at once, he should be the first to reach me. Asterisk, 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 Luo Feng passing the 13th level of the heavenly bridge. The commotion he caused not only affected the upper echelons of the virtual universe company, but also the other races. Within the barbarian universe country's space territory, in a space that corresponded to a space layer, there was a huge god country. This vast god country was where the Bug Clan's hidden organization was located. Within the god country, there was a mountain range that was over 1,000,000 km tall. This was also the tallest mountain range in the entire god country. At the peak of the mountain, there was a huge shrine that was over 100,000 kilometers tall. The shrine emitted a glaring gold light that shone on the land. From afar, one could see the silhouettes within the shrine. The humans and the intrepid Bug Clan warriors were incomparably harmonious within the shrine. Master, master. At the highest level of the shrine, within the vast shrine, a gold-robed man flashed and appeared, shouting anxiously, "Important news, important news." Roar, roar, roar. Tens of thousands of gold bug warriors, undying bug warriors, were scattered throughout the palace. When they discovered that the golden-robed man was barging into the palace, they were instantly enraged and let out angry roars of warning towards the golden-robed man. Almost as though if the gold-robed man showed any disrespect, they would attack. "What news? Why are you in such a panic?" A gentle and relaxing voice resounded within the shrine. The gold-robed man looked respectfully at the 10 kilometers tall Bug Clan mother nest that was being protected by large amounts of undying Bug Clan warriors. "I've just received news that the human genius Luo Feng, also number 3, has passed the heavenly bridge today. Born only a few hundred years ago, Luo Feng actually passed the 13th level in one go." 13th level? The gentle voice was filled with suspicion. The 10th level is the level of a normal undying. That means number 3's origin law comprehension is already comparable to the stronger undying generals. "Yes, master," the gold-robed man said respectfully and urgently. "And he's reached such a level in a few hundred years. Amongst the genius battle members that have trained for the same amount of time as him, Bolin only passed the 8th level. He can't compare to Luo Feng at all. That Bolin is a genius that appears once in 10,000 eras. This Luo Feng is definitely one in 10 million eras. 10 million eras, that was 100 billion years. Even though the universe's history was incomparably long, 10 million eras was already a relatively large amount of time. To be able to be called an absolute genius that appears once in 10 million eras, Kudi was one, Shihua was another. Even though many of them fell along the way, those that didn't all had shocking achievements. Those that didn't fall were absolute geniuses that appear once in 10 million eras. The weakest were at the pinnacle. A once in 10 million eras genius. Can he compare to Kudi? The gentle voice said. Yes, the gold-robed man said. Back then, to get rid of this threat, our Bug Clan spent a lot of effort. Even his teacher, Primal Chaos City leader, couldn't even twist the space to revive his disciple. The gentle voice said, "Make Luo Feng number 1. I'll report to the clan. To get rid of him, our organization's power is no longer enough. You can leave." Yes, the gold-robed man respectfully left. The universe was endless and vast. Even the human race, Bug Clan, and automaton race only occupied a small portion of the universe. In the distant universe, there were a few extremely powerful races. One of them was a god country that was hidden in between space. This was a god-country continent filled with black energy. Within the majestic black shrine, Master, a figure shrouded in black fog, was kneeling respectfully. Sitting on the throne in the cold hall was a figure of over 3,000 meters tall, formed from countless black rocks. The surface of the rocks on his body was surrounded by dark red flames, and black flames would occasionally spurt out of his nostrils. The material of his two black horns seemed to be made of crystal and translucent glass. He gazed below at the tiny black mist silhouette. The majestic silhouette spat out black flames from his nostrils. Master, I've just received news that an absolute genius has been born in the human race of the Great Alliance, called Luo Feng. He's only trained for a few hundred years, and he's already passed the human heavenly bridge's 13th level. The weak silhouette in the black mist said respectfully, he's definitely an absolute genius that appears once in 10 million eras. However, he's currently living in the human sacred land, Primal Chaos City. There's a Primal Chaos City leader guarding there. Our clan has no way of infiltrating. The majestic silhouette gazed below at the black mist silhouette. There's no chance of infiltrating the Primal Chaos City leader's place. Just wait. After this Luo Feng becomes the sector lord, he'll definitely head to the outer region battlefield. In the outer region battlefield, there'll naturally be a chance to deal with Luo Feng. A huge cube made of countless crystals floated within a majestic god country. The entire cube had a diameter of about 3 million kilometers, and it was completely made of peculiar crystals. Within the core of the cube, a man was sitting on the dark green throne. He had a perfect body that seemed to be carved from crystal, and his appearance was similar to a human's. There was a golden eye between his eyebrows, and invisible ripples spread throughout the entire 300-kilometer cube, with his eye as the center. The distant human race of the Great Alliance actually produced a genius that appears once in 10 million eras. Looks like the Bug Clan, Demon Clan, and Automaton Clan will all think of ways to kill that punk. Sending a Universe Knight to kill Luo Feng has a 100% chance of success. However, the price is that the Universe Knight who kills him will be killed by the absolute warriors of the human race. Using a Universe Knight to exchange for Luo Feng? I don't think any race will choose that. However, if it's an undying, it'll be troublesome to kill him. Interesting. The 4 pinnacle races are nearing. The more intense the battle, the better. The man muttered softly, after which he closed his 3 eyes. Within a day, the news of the birth of a peerless genius had spread throughout the universe to countless alien races. 2 chapters finished. Chapter 748. Primal Chaos City. Within the countless training quarters, on one of the balconies, Luo Feng, who was sitting crossed-legged with his eyes closed, slowly opened them, a smile on his face. After reflecting on it, I've learned quite a bit. Babada, Luo Feng shouted within. Here, Babada said passionately. As long as Luo Feng reached Domain Lord level, Babada would automatically recognize him as his master. Hence, towards Luo Feng's orders, Babada was extremely passionate and swift. Activate the Virtual Universe Network. Luo Feng smiled. There should be quite a few powerful beings that have sent me messages. Understood. Babada was very happy too. He immediately activated the Virtual Universe Network, and immediately many messages arrived. There's a total of 392 messages and 13 call requests. Babada said, "So many?" Luo Feng was shocked and laughed. Before, when he decided to go for the Heavenly Bridge, he naturally guessed that passing the 12th and 13th level would cause a huge commotion. After all those Domain Lord level Primal Region members that had trained for tens of thousands of years, the strongest were only at the 11th level. He immediately sent a thread of his consciousness into the virtual universe. Virtual Universe, Yuxiang Mountain Primal Region. Luo Feng sat before his desk and watched the screen. There were many emails on the screen, as well as many call requests. The messages are mainly from the Universe Knights, a total of 322 of them. Other powerful Undyings, as well as Wuka, Rongjun, and the others also sent messages. There are also calls from Wuka and Rong Jun. Oh, there's also your teacher Tru Yin. Babata stood on Luo Feng's shoulder and said, "Shwa shwa shwa." The messages were swiftly flipped through by Luo Feng. His reading speed was shocking. Very quickly he finished reading them all. A genius that appears once every 10,000 eras. Those universe knights don't care. However, an absolute monster that appears once every 10 million eras. It's enough to make the universe knights jealous. Luo Feng smiled. From the messages, he could clearly feel the sincerity of the knights. Many of them were very close with him, even suggesting to accept him as a disciple. Of course, everything was up to Luo Feng to decide. These knights wouldn't force him. "I'll go see my teacher first," Luo Feng said. Primal Chaos City. Luo Feng leapt down from the balcony, becoming a blur and swiftly heading towards Tru Yan's residence not far from his home. "Teacher." Luo Feng walked into a courtyard and bowed respectfully. "Sit." Tru Yan sat there enjoying the unique fruit wine, simultaneously pouring a cup for Luo Feng. "Yes." Luo Feng sat beside. "Haha, you really surprised me this time." Tru Yan glanced at Luo Feng and laughed. "I'm afraid many of the knights have sent you emails." Luo Feng nodded. "Yes, teacher. Your improvement speed is shocking. At this rate, even if your comprehension speed slows down in the future, but becoming an emperor peak undying shouldn't be too hard." Tru Yan smiled and said, "After all, in the tens of millions of epics of history, other than those who died prematurely, the rest of the absolute geniuses were at least at the peak of the sealed emperor level. Close to a third of them had stepped into the ranks of the universe paragons. When they find out that you've improved so much, they'll definitely fight to take you in as their disciple. After all, a master-disciple relationship is the strongest." Luo Feng nodded seriously. Experts had an unlimited lifespan, so when their relatives died of old age, the one they were closest to was their teacher. Respect for the teacher, this was a very important point for human warriors. Even if they surpassed their teacher in the future, they still had to respect them, because the teacher would guide you along the path of training faster and more stable. The teacher would truly help you time and time again. This favor was extremely huge. Naturally, one had to respect the teacher. If one didn't respect the teacher, he would be looked down upon by the other warriors. This was also the reason why the universe paragons wanted to take Luo Feng as their disciple, as long as he didn't die prematurely. In the future, he would at least reach the pinnacle of the emperor level. He would definitely become their right and left-hand man. And the moment he became a universe paragon, with a universe paragon disciple, in the battles between factions, adventuring in the universe secret regions, on the battlefield, etc., the teacher and disciple working together would naturally have a higher chance of success. Others may still plot, kill, etc., etc., but it was almost impossible for a teacher and disciple to do such a thing. Whoever dared to betray their teacher and ancestor, it was fine if they didn't find out, but the moment they found out, they would become the enemy of all the strong. "Have you thought about it?" Tru Yan looked at Luo Feng. "Who will be your teacher?" Luo Feng hesitated. "Don't hesitate. Which warrior doesn't have a group of teachers?" Tru Yan laughed loudly. "Back then, when I was a weakling and climbed up step by step, I too had a group of teachers. After all, a teacher's power is limited. Hence, for humanity's development, naturally we can't limit everyone to one teacher. That will only delay your talent." Luo Feng nodded. "There are many universe paragons. However, I don't know which one to choose," Luo Feng said. In his heart, Luo Feng wanted to be a disciple of the Tianshi Palace leader. Unfortunately, the leader didn't send any mail. As for the other 300 or so knights, Luo Feng didn't recognize any of them. He didn't even know who was strong or weak among them. In the mail, the knights naturally described their own strengths and abilities. However, Luo Feng naturally understood the logic of praising one's own strengths and abilities. These knights' own descriptions were not enough to fully trust. "I'll recommend you one." Tru Yan smiled. Luo Feng was stunned. "Primal Chaos City Leader." Tru Yan emphasized. Luo Feng was shocked. Primal Chaos City Leader? The absolute being in charge of humanity's sacred land, Primal Chaos City? There were trillions of races in the universe. The other races all eyed it. And, as the sacred land of humanity, one could imagine how important it was. However, with the Primal Chaos City Leader there, no other races dare to mess with him. One could imagine how strong he was. However, teacher, the Primal Chaos City Leader didn't send me any mail. Luo Feng said, do I have to personally go and recommend myself? No. True Yin shook his head. Even though he didn't send, he sent someone over to tell me. He has intentions of taking you in as a disciple. Disciple? Luo Feng was stunned. Haha. What kind of position does the Primal Chaos City Leader have? Even though your performance is not bad, you still don't have the qualifications to be his disciple. True Yin laughed loudly. The Primal Chaos City Leader's disciples are usually Universe Knights. Of course, that Kadi is his disciple too. However, compared to Kadi, you still seem a little lacking. Luo Feng nodded and admitted. Kadi was a Universe-level, Domain Lord and Sector Lord. He was someone who had passed the Primal Sky Mountain. Sector Lord level was comparable to an Emperor-level Undying, a heavenly being that could kill an official-level Undying. It was said that when he was a Sector Lord, his origin law comprehension was already able to pass the 20th level of the Heavenly Bridge. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to kill an official-level Undying as a Sector Lord. Such an absolute being was taken in as a disciple. The Primal Chaos City Leader too has a Primal Chaos tablet. Do you know which one it is? True Yin smiled at Luo Feng. 52 Primal Chaos tablets. Luo Feng was shocked. In his mind, the names of the tablets swiftly floated. Universe Primal Chaos Tablet. True Yin said. The second-ranked Universe Primal Chaos Tablet. Luo Feng took a deep breath. 52 Primal Chaos Tablets. The huge Axe Primal Chaos Tablet was ranked 1. The Universe Primal Chaos Tablet was ranked 2. That huge Axe Primal Chaos Tablet was left behind by the creator of the huge axe. The Universe Primal Chaos Tablet was actually left behind by the Primal Chaos City Leader. From this Primal Chaos City Leader should be one of the top 3 pinnacle beings of humanity. He had been in Primal Chaos City for countless years, preventing countless other races from invading. An absolute being. Even though the other knights took you in as a disciple, the Primal Chaos City Leader only took you in as a disciple in name. However, as a disciple in name, your performance in the future will be even more exceptional, and you will rise to become a disciple. True Yin smiled. With the Primal Chaos City Leader as your teacher, naturally no one within the human race will mess with you. Situations like Candle Emperor dealing with you will never happen again. Of course, the other races won't give him any face. Luo Feng nodded. The other races, right? Humans were just a race, and there were powerful beings of other races, even those who were as powerful as the creator of the giant axe. Even the so-called Flame God race had been left behind by a foreign race expert. Even the Demon Node inheritance, Ice God inheritance, were probably left behind by the other races too. The universe was vast. The strong were as many as the clouds. One had to be humble at all times. I've decided. Luo Feng nodded. I'll go take the Primal Chaos City Leader as my teacher. Ha! True Yin nodded satisfactorily. However, you'll have to go see the 9-Blade Knight first. He's after all your direct subordinate knight. You'll have to tell him your decision first. If he knows you're going to take the Primal Chaos City Leader as your teacher, he won't dare say much. After all, in the virtual universe company right now, the city leader is the #1 person in power. #1 person in power of the virtual universe company? Luo Feng couldn't wait any longer. He really wanted to personally see this person in power of the virtual universe company, a true pinnacle being. Compared to the huge axe creator, the Primal Chaos City Leader was probably about the same. Otherwise, how could he oversee the human sacred land? How could he defend against the other races? Under his impatience, Luo Feng used the virtual universe network, first heading to the 9-Blade Knight's personal space, respectfully greeting him. The 9-Blade Knight was much more courteous to Luo Feng. After knowing The primal Chaos City leader had taken Luo Feng in as a disciple. Even though he was helpless, he didn't stop him. After all, that was the primal Chaos City leader. Even if the city leader took him in as a disciple, his position was still higher than the direct disciples of the universe warriors. Haha, from the looks of it, you're impatient. The Nine-Blade Knight stood in his palace, gazing below and smiling. Since the city leader has already given his orders, then hurry to the residence. Remember, when you meet the city leader, you can't be disrespectful. The city leader has guarded the human sacred land for countless years. His contributions to our human race are immeasurable. Yes, knight. Luo Feng bowed respectfully, following which he vanished into thin air. At the same time, Luo Feng had already walked out of his teacher, Tru Yan's residence, following the wide streets towards the distant city leader's residence. The majestic and grand residence was already within his vision. Primal Chaos City Leader. Luo Feng thought softly. P.S. Chapter 1 has arrived. Chapter 749. The doors of the Primal Chaos City Leader's residence were always open. There were often people entering and exiting the residence. Luo Feng, too, entered the residence with familiarity. However, in the past, he went to study the Nine Universe Tablet. This time, he went to visit the city leader. City leader's inner residence. Luo Feng took a deep breath and headed towards the strictest inner residence. The outer residence's entrance was maintained for long periods of time. However, the inner palace was heavily guarded, and with one look, the guards were all undyings. Clang! Two guards simultaneously dropped their spears and blocked Luo Feng, simultaneously looking coldly at him. I am Luo Feng. I've specially come to visit the city leader. Luo Feng said respectfully. Do you think the city leader is someone you can meet whenever you want? One of the guards was surrounded by thunder, staring coldly at Luo Feng. Without the city leader's orders, even knights can forget about meeting him. To be able to guard the door for the city leader, they were actually very proud. This was the city leader, the virtual universe company's #1 being, the true person with the highest authority. The Undyings all fought to be the gatekeeper. Even the gatekeeper didn't give any face to the universe knights who came to visit, because these gatekeepers represented the primal Chaos City leader's face. Please pass the message. Luo Feng smiled. I've indeed received the city leader's orders to come. The group of Undyings around looked at Luo Feng. Right. Without the city leader's orders, this punk wouldn't dare to come here and cause trouble. Wait a moment, I'll pass the message. The Undying, surrounded by thunder, no longer had a cold expression on his face. Instead, he smiled. You are Luo Feng? After a while, the Undyings looked shocked at Luo Feng. Luo Feng smiled and nodded. Go in, Gue Knight is waiting for you inside. The Undyings, surrounded by thunder, said, simultaneously retracting the spear that was blocking Luo Feng. Luo Feng smiled as he entered the inner residence, causing the group of Undying guards to discuss amongst themselves as they watched him leave. One had to know that a domain lord or sector lord that could enter the inner residence, it was hard to even meet one in 100 million years. That was the residence of the primal Chaos City leader. Inner mansion. Following the wide walkway, he quickly arrived at a plaza paved with primal chaos rocks. Luo Feng glanced at the distant bald man dressed in a fiery red armor. He had a faint smile on his face, and his entire being seemed very calm. Just looking at this bald man, Luo Feng couldn't help but calm down, as though he had merged into the vast and peaceful universe. Everything around him seemed to have disappeared, leaving only the bald man standing there. Luo Feng was startled awake. What terrifying existences! Skysure Palace Master, Undying Paragon, Fire Paragon, Nine-Sword Paragon, and others. I feel that these universe paragons are all incomparably powerful. Even though Emperor Undyings are strong, I can still barely judge their strength. And this person before me, I can't judge at all. He should be a universe knight too. Luo Feng immediately confirmed. He should be the Gue Knight that the guard mentioned. Luo Feng walked towards the red-armored bald man. I'm Master Gue. I'm here to receive you on the orders of my master. Master Gue smiled. His smile seemed to have the power to touch one's heart. Luo Feng greets Master Gue. Luo Feng bowed respectfully. Follow me. Master Gue said. Yes. Luo Feng followed respectfully. Master Gue brought Luo Feng and walked within the inner quarters of the city leader's residence. Simultaneously, he smiled and turned to look at Luo Feng. Teacher has intentions of taking you in as a disciple. I think you should be willing. Yes. Luo Feng nodded. Since you've become teacher's disciple, you don't have to call me Master Gue. Just call me second senior brother. Master Gue smiled. I've been under teacher for a very long time, hence I've become the second senior brother. He has many disciples under him, many stronger than me. It's only because he favors me that I'm able to stay by his side. Luo Feng said, greetings second senior brother. Master Gue smiled as he walked. Teacher has 3 bodies. The one in charge of primal chaosity is in charge of killing. Hence you have to be respectful and not offend him. Yes. Luo Feng was shocked, replying respectfully. My God, that primal chaos city leader actually had 3 bodies. The one left in primal chaos city was in charge of killing? Just one body alone was enough to guard primal chaos city? If that was the case, then the power the primal chaos city leader had was simply unimaginable. Actually, it wasn't a secret that the primal chaos city leader had 3 bodies. The reason why the strong were strong was because they were respected. They relied on true killing methods. The primal chaos city leader had killed countless foreign race warriors. His 3 bodies were known by the trillions of races in the universe. Any one of them had unbelievable power. Primal chaos ruins? Luo Feng looked at the quiet courtyard before him. Outside the courtyard was a stone tablet. On it were the words, Primal Chaos Tablet. Teacher is inside, Guei said and brought Luo Feng in. Luo Feng too stepped in. Rumble, time and space twisted. Before, he was still in the city leader's residence. However, the moment he stepped in, he felt the space around him change. He actually entered a vast world. On a vast land, with a glance, there were corpses everywhere. Some were as large as planets, while others were smaller than a human. However, every single one of the corpses had a terrifying energy that made one's heart palpitate. This should be the ruins of a terrifying pinnacle battle. Luo Feng and Guei Knight walked on this endless wasteland. Teacher, Guei suddenly shouted. Only now did Luo Feng realize in shock that not too far away stood a tall and sturdy man that was about 3 m tall. He was dressed in an extremely complicated and ancient dark red battle armor with battle boots on his feet. At the same time, a scaled tail extended out from his battle skirt. When Luo Feng's gaze landed on this man, he felt his soul tremble. At the start, he only saw a silhouette. After that, it was almost as though he saw the endless universe laws. That vast universe laws constantly emitted killing intent, causing Luo Feng's soul to completely submit. He had no thoughts of resisting. Luo Feng, a very normal voice resounded. All the illusions from before vanished, and Luo Feng could see that man with his naked eyes again. That dark red, armored man with a scaled tail turned to look at Luo Feng. His forehead had 2 fiery red horns. His face had peculiar engravings too, making him seem fierce and ferocious. However, his eyes were calm like the vast ocean, like the endless starry sky, making one involuntarily calm down. Luo Feng greets the city leader. Luo Feng knelt down. Terrifying, too terrifying. Luo Feng was shocked within. The first time I saw him, it was almost like I saw the universe laws. Right? This is the realm of one's own origin law. That hero also said, the beast god was a fusion of the origin laws. His every move carried the fusion of the origin laws. Even that beast god statue carried the fusion of the origin laws. And the primal chaos city leader, at his level, his body naturally carries the origin laws. Looking at the city leader himself, that's directly observing his powerful origin laws. This was the realm. It definitely exceeded the realm of the universe knights. It was a realm that truly stood at the pinnacle of the universe. Your performance is not bad, and you've had many fortuitous encounters. The Primal Chaos City leader looked at Luo Feng and smiled. Luo Feng listened respectfully. However, he was panicking deep down because he felt that the Primal Chaos City leader's gaze had seen through him completely. It seemed like he had no secrets at all. No, my Masha clansman is carrying the core and has been hiding in the world ring the entire time. And I've long absorbed that world ring. If anyone were to probe, I would have discovered it long ago. If anyone were to probe my core, I would have discovered it too. However, the Primal Chaos City leader's strength is unbelievable. It's hard to say. However, he is after all the Primal Chaos City leader. He probably wouldn't even bother to probe my world ring. I've seen the video of you passing the Heavenly Bridge. You've almost comprehended the 108 space essences. The Primal Chaos City leader smiled. It hasn't even been 90 years since I came to Primal Chaos City, and you've already comprehended the 108 space essences. Not bad. Luo Feng listened obediently. You passed the 13th level. It should be because you studied the Golden Horn clan's huge beast god statue in the canyon. The Primal Chaos City leader said. Yes, Luo Feng said. His heart, however, was trembling. It was too terrifying. Even though the Primal Chaos City leader's guess was slightly off, it couldn't be considered wrong. Because Luo Feng's trillions of carvings were the same as the huge sleeping beast god statue in the canyon. This was because the small beast god statue Luo Feng acquired couldn't be copied at all. The moment he tried to copy it, he would be suppressed by the universe. However, the sleeping beast god statue left behind by Hiroto could be copied. To be able to comprehend a bit of the concept, not bad. The Primal Chaos City leader said, "Are you willing to be my disciple?" "Your disciple is willing," Luo Feng said respectfully. The Primal Chaos City leader nodded. He was a being that stood at the pinnacle of humanity. Even though geniuses were important, he was very clear. Some people might be slow in comprehending, but if they could constantly break through and advance, they could still become universe knights. Hence, unless it was an absolute genius that appeared once in 10 million eras, otherwise he wouldn't care. Even if it was an absolute genius that appeared once in 10 million eras, the Primal Chaos City leader would still have to observe him. After that, he would confirm whether or not to take him in as a disciple. I know true yen exchange for the upper half of the 7 divine transformations for you, the Primal Chaos City leader said. And for you to be able to comprehend a bit of the beast god statues concept, it means you have talent in merging the origin laws. However, merging the origin laws is thousands to tens of thousands of times harder than just comprehending one. I'll give you time, 3,000 years, the Primal Chaos City leader said. If within these 3,000 years in Primal Chaos City, you master the first level of the 7 divine transformations, I'll take you in as my disciple. The Primal Chaos City leader looked at Luo Feng and said, P.S. The 2nd chapter has arrived. There's still the 3rd chapter today. I'm starting to catch up. Chapter 750. He mastered the first level of Nanshun's 7 forms in 3,000 years. Paragon Gue was shocked. The Nanshun 7 forms, Beast God 7 attacks. This precious manual was very famous amongst the pinnacle race of humanity. The reason why it was so famous was because of 2 reasons. One was because of the Goldhorn race's Shi Luo Duo slaughter of trillions of races in the universe back then. 2 was because of the powerful beast god that was born after the universe was born. Because of the beast god, humanity had indeed sacrificed many back then. Warriors were made through fighting. Shi Luo Duo and the beast god were all like that. And Shi Luo Duo's Nanshun 7 forms was created with the beast god as the target. Naturally, this manual was highly valued by humanity. When the Goldhorn race was under the protection of the humans, the strongest manual of the race, the Nanshun 7 forms, naturally fell into the hands of the humans. Ever since this technique was passed to the humans, Due to their envy of Shi Luo Duo and the beast god, many warriors of the human race had exchanged for the first part of this manual to train. The moment they trained, they discovered that the difficulty of the Nanshan 7 forms was thousands to tens of thousands of times harder than just training the space laws. Especially the first level. Even some knights couldn't complete the first level. The success or failure of this first level would indicate whether or not one was talented in fusing the laws of space and metal. I remember back then that Lien Luo took 3,000 years to comprehend the 108 wonders. Gue Knight thought. Teacher only gave Luo Feng 3,000 years to comprehend the first level of the Nanshan 7 forms. It's hard. 3,000 years? Luo Feng was nervous when he heard. Shi Luo Duo had said in the first level of the Nanshan 7 forms that the first level was the entry-level manual. It was best to comprehend the 108 wonders before attempting to train in it. The time required would be at least 100 times, 1,000 times more than the time required to comprehend the 108 wonders. These were the exact words Shi Luo Duo left in the manual. He only said 100 times, 1,000 times. I took 100 years to comprehend the 108 wonders. Then 100 times, 1,000 times, wouldn't that take 10,000 or 100,000 years? Luo Feng thought. However, I have the beast god statue. I can study it and study the laws within. The efficiency should be much higher. If I work hard, I will definitely complete the first level of the scale section within 3,000 years. Your disciple will do his best. Luo Feng didn't dare show any disrespect to this body of the Primal Chaos City leader. Primal Chaos City leader nodded, after which he walked into the distance, and Gue Knight and Luo Feng followed. Your 9th senior brother is here, Primal Chaos City leader said. Luo Feng looked around. Suddenly, he saw a 9M tall man with 6 arms and 6 eyes walking over from the sandstorm. On his back was a huge golden axe that was almost as tall as his body. The huge axe had incomparably complex engravings on it, and a terrifying aura emanated from it, causing the space around to tear apart. He walked over with large strides, even crushing some corpses under his feet. The surrounding space was trembling. Teacher, the giant man with the golden axe on his back said respectfully as he approached. This is your 9th senior, Gold Axe Knight. Primal Chaos City leader explained to Luo Feng. 9th brother. Luo Feng bowed. Your 9th senior brother, Reverend Gold Axe, once cultivated the 7 forms of Nanshan. The Primal Chaos City leader smiled and said, from today onwards, for the next 3,000 years, I will ask your 9th senior brother to teach you once every 10 years. If you have any questions, you can ask your 9th senior brother then. Luo Feng was delighted. Even though in the Beast God Canyon of the Gold Horn race, it was said that no one had comprehended the secret of the sleeping Beast God statue, Luo Feng guessed that in truth, there should be some absolute beings that had comprehended it. It was just that they wouldn't publicize it. Like the human race where the strong were like clouds, they all had this manual. Hence, there would definitely be many that try to train in it. Yes, Luo Feng said respectfully, after which he turned to Gold Axe Knight and said, I'll be troubling you for the next 3,000 years. No trouble. Gold Axe Knight laughed loudly. What a joke. The city leader's orders, how would he dare go against them? This Nanshan 7 forms is too difficult. Even though I've trained in it before, it was only as a support. Gold Axe Knight explained. Even though he had tried to train in it before, even reaching the 4th form, he was already strong enough. Even after trillions of years, he still found that the losses weren't worth it. Right now, he had already given up on it and focused on studying the time laws. He had already completed the space laws the moment he completed the time laws. Once he completed the time and space laws, he would naturally become a universe master. Training in time and space. These are the most common paths amongst the trillions of races in the universe. 99.9% of the knights walked this path. After the city leader finished instructing Gold Axe Knight, he looked at Luo Feng. Our virtual universe company nurtures and nurtures geniuses. The higher the talent, the more resources we'll get. Of course, When you reach Sector Lord level, there'll be a distribution. Since you become my disciple, I'll give you some resources. Thank you, teacher. Luo Feng was delighted within. I'll give you an extra 20 chances to study the 9-universe tablet. The city leader said, I believe this is what you need the most right now. Go on. I hope to see you complete the first level within 3,000 years. Yes. Luo Feng suppressed his joy and bowed respectfully. Guei Knight and Gold Axe Knight bowed too. Hua. The three of them simultaneously vanished and appeared outside the courtyard of the Primal Chaos ruins. Space transfer? Luo Feng looked at himself, standing outside the courtyard, and thought. Junior Luo Feng, work hard. Guei Knight smiled and said, after which he vanished too. 10 years later, I'll go to the virtual universe Yuxiang Mountain to find you. Gold Axe Knight's voice rumbled, after which he vanished too. 3,000 years. Luo Feng thought. His eyes gleamed with glee. 20 extra chances to study. This is simply too wonderful. 20 chances to study the 9-universe tablets seemed normal, but in truth its value was limitless. Because these chances couldn't be exchanged with points. Every level of the Heavenly Bridge gave him one more chance. Even if he passed the 21st level and became a Universe Knight, there were only a total of 21 chances. Every chance was incredibly precious. Luo Feng's true motive for coming to Primal Chaos City was to study the 9-universe tablet. Out of nowhere, he had 20 more chances to comprehend. It was better than giving Luo Feng a few manuals, and it was even more surprising than getting some treasures. Leaving the city leader's residence, Luo Feng immediately went to study the 9-universe tablet. Luo Feng currently had a total of 26 chances to study it, 6 left from the Heavenly Bridge, the 20 given by the city leader. Properly distributing these 26 chances would allow him to improve very quickly. Time passed. The news of Luo Feng becoming a disciple of the Primal Chaos City leader, at least the knights, all knew about it. And the country leader of the Ganwu Universe country, for the first time, gave an order to give special treatment to the Luo family within the Ganwu Universe country. Since the country leader had given the order, the undying families under him were all extremely enthusiastic. This caused the Luo family's power and influence to rise greatly, enough to match some of the powerful undying families within the Ganwu Universe country. Luo Feng didn't care too much about this. He was very clear that this was an important period of his rise. The stronger he got, the higher his position, the more powerful the Luo family would be, and the moment he fell, the Luo family would definitely fall. 10 years later. Yes, 9th Senior. Understood. Within the primal region of Yuxiang Mountain, Luo Feng's villa's training grounds, Gold Axe Knight was giving Luo Feng pointers, allowing him to swiftly ask questions after 10 years. And Gold Axe Knight was, after all, the early disciple of the Primal Chaos City leader. Over countless years, along with the city leader's personal guidance, his strength wasn't any weaker than Shi Huan Knight, maybe even stronger. He gave Luo Feng pointers, of course from a high vantage point. It was simple and easy. His explanations made Luo Feng feel enlightened and excited. He explained for a total of 3 days. After 3 days, Gold Axe Knight left. Luo Feng continued to sit cross-legged on the balcony, occasionally looking up at the sky and closing his eyes in deep thought. The Golden Horn Beast and the Masha clansmen were fully focused on their training. In a flash, 12 years had passed since the city leader took him in as a disciple. Luo Feng, who had been sitting cross-legged, suddenly opened his eyes and stood up. He couldn't help but laugh excitedly. I've finally done it. I've finally comprehended the 108 wonders of space. Lien Luo, 3,000 years. I've only just passed 100 years. Luo Feng laughed loudly, filled with glee. My essence is Sector Lord level training, and Lien Luo is Sector Lord level 2. However, I'm close to 30 times faster than him. Looks like my training speed far exceeds his 2. Luo Feng combined his 2 clones. His talent exceeded Lien Luo's. However, it wasn't as ridiculous as 30 times. The main thing was that with the Beast God statue, to be able to look at it and comprehend the beast god presence. It was naturally beneficial to training the space laws. No wonder Lien Luo said that after comprehending the 108 wonders, the fourth, fifth, and sixth picture would give me a 100% confidence in training. Luo Feng laughed too. Ha! Even though the fourth to sixth pictures are incredibly complex, in truth they are the integration of the 108 wonders. The 108 types of space essences were like ingredients. All kinds of delicious dishes were made from the most basic ingredients. Once one understood all the essences, they would start from the essences and cultivate the fourth, fifth, and sixth diagrams. They would not be like ordinary cultivators who foolishly comprehended them. The fourth to sixth pictures will at most take a bit more time. They definitely won't stop me. Luo Feng was extremely confident. However, I'm not in a rush to study the fourth picture. I have to study the Nanshan 7 forms first. I have to make the best use of my time. Luo Feng couldn't care less. Immediately closing his eyes, countless words floated in his mind. This was the Nanshan 36 forms he got from the Manual Tower in the Goldhorn Race Sacred Land. When he read the Nanshan 7 forms, he realized the Nanshan 36 layers was the introductory chapter of the Nanshan 7 forms. Actually, this had been described in detail in the Scripture Pagoda, saying that this was the foundation chapter of Shi Luo Duo's ultimate technique. Tomato was pleasantly surprised to find that the leader moon was already at 10 million. Long Xing and Right Hand were incredibly close to 10 million. 310 million? Hee, very excited. Thank you for your support. Tomato is very grateful. I'm still 900 votes away from first place. Brothers with monthly votes, please support Tomato. Vote for Tomato. Chapter 751. In the past, Luo Feng relied on the golden horned beast to grasp a bit of the beast god mentality. He didn't need to understand the laws within. He just needed to be able to use it. And from now onwards, he truly began to study the fusion of the two origin laws. Just like on Earth, some people were born to be good at the piano, others were born to be good at logic and science. Even though one could achieve it with more effort, talent still played a part. Especially the fusion of the origin laws was a very difficult path. Even many knights couldn't even cross the threshold. And Luo Feng, was it fast? Was it slow? It was hard to say before he started training. Virtual universe. Luo Feng was within the training grounds. In the sky above the vast mountain range, Feng Lin stood on the Lofa Chi board, and at the same time, more than 800,000 blades surrounded his body. The densely packed blades filled the sky. As Feng Lin used his psychic power to activate these blades, he also used his psychic power to trigger the laws of the universe. He began to cast the illusory sword style, sky-piercing style, sword domain, great ingenuity, space slicing, and sword world, even though these blades were normal blades and didn't have any origin law engravings. But he could still unleash these ultimate moves. The main use of the spirit weapon was that it was infused with origin law engravings. Through a few combinations, it could become a fixed ultimate move. When that time came, he would only have to activate it to unleash the attack. And if he didn't have a spirit weapon, like Luo Feng controlling the countless blades, he would have to activate the origin laws himself. That would be much more tiring. Unleashing the same move, with or without a spirit weapon, the amount of effort and energy required would be 10 to 100 times more. Golden blade slicing through space. Countless blades danced in the air, triggering the laws of the universe, causing the countless blades to seem to connect as one, forming a gigantic sword with a faint trace of golden flowing light. Luo Feng's face was flushed red, staring hard at the countless blades that formed the huge blade. If I used the Nanshan armament, I could easily unleash this move, and it would be extremely powerful. Luo Feng thought, however, through the hundreds of thousands of normal blades, every 10 blades activating the origin law engravings, controlling so many blades to activate the universe laws is already very taxing for me. Barely able to form this golden blade. One had to know that Luo Feng had already comprehended 108 essences. His origin law comprehension had already reached the 12th level of the Heavenly Bridge. the moment he exceeded 3,200 spirit energy amplitude. Luo Feng could use the Nan Shen armament to unleash the 9th level Undying. With the Nan Shun armament, he would be able to use the 9th level. Without the Nan Shun armament, just relying on the countless razor blades, even the 8th tier golden sword cleaving the void felt strenuous. Through the training of the 36 levels of the evolved god, Luo Feng actually naturally knew how to modify the origin engravings on the blades. This modification was one of the techniques used to create his attacks, spreading an attack's secret method onto hundreds of thousands or even millions of blades, and finally adjusting each blade. Finally, he reached the most satisfactory state. After that, he would combine the millions of blades with the law engravings, solidifying the engravings on the spirit weapons. This way, he wouldn't need to be distracted when he unleashed his ultimate moves. He only needed to activate them. Of course, Luo Feng still hadn't reached the time to create his own techniques. Training the 36 levels of the evolved god, the biggest benefit to him right now was to complement the first level of the evolved god 7. I see. So this is the profound mystery of the beast god realm. Sitting on the balcony, Luo Feng's eyebrows were dancing and his face was filled with worry. The moment he began the fusion of the origin laws, Luo Feng realized the benefits of grasping a thread of the beast god realm. Just like a car mechanic, even though he didn't understand the theory behind it, practice makes perfect. When a mechanic who knew how to repair a car went to study the theory behind it, comparing it with his own car repair process, his comprehension would naturally be faster. Luo Feng was like that. In the past, he knew how to do it, but didn't understand it. Now that he had studied it and confirmed it, he was extremely excited and excited. It's just like that. Huh? Luo Feng's 6th year of training the evolved god 7. Teacher, Luo Feng sat beside Tru Yen. How's the evolved god 7? Do you have confidence in completing the first level in 3,000 years? Tru Yen looked at Luo Feng. He too knew of the agreement between Luo Feng and the Primal Chaos City leader. It's all right for now. Luo Feng smiled. These 6 years, I haven't met much trouble since I started. However, the path of the beast god is deep and unfathomable. Just this first level, the scale armor, is already very complicated. According to what Hiroto said, there will be many difficulties. I don't know if I'll be able to easily overcome all of them. Tru Yen nodded. This was a true ultimate manual. The moment one mastered the 6th level, one would stand at the pinnacle of the human race. He would only be weaker than the creator of the huge axe, Primal Chaos City leader, and the Void Gold Lord, etc. However, it was enough to dominate the trillions of races in the universe. Hence, every level was very difficult. Not meeting any difficulties at the start. That's good. It means you are very suitable for this path. Tru Yen nodded satisfactorily. What he didn't know, the Golden Horned Beast had been studying the sleeping statue for a long time, studying the special concepts of the smaller statue, which was the fusion of the origin laws, and practicing the first claw over and over again. Actually, among Luo Feng's 3 great bodies, the Earth body and the Masha clansman's training speed in the Beast God path was far from the Golden Horned Beast's. The Golden Horned Beast, the huge, sleeping statue, the small statue, along with the 7 and 36 levels of the evolved god, it was indeed a perfect match. There's still a few more days before the Domain Lord level qualification battles. Tru Yen smiled. When that time comes, remember to participate. Your disciple remembers. Luo Feng smiled. Domain Lord qualification battles? The strongest of the 10 seniors had only passed the 11th level. Even if he didn't use the beast god concept, just his comprehension of space and his 3,200 spirit energy amplitude, he could easily pass the 13th level. Fighting with them is like bullying them. They're not even on the same level. Luo Feng muttered within. Even though it seemed like bullying, the once-in-a-thousand-year Domain Lord qualification battles still arrived. Virtual Universe U, Xiang Mountain Primal Region. The Primal Region Lord qualification battles are about to begin. All gather. A thick voice immediately resounded throughout the Primal Region. The 11 Domain Lords all looked up into the sky. looking at the silhouette standing in midair, after which they swiftly rushed into the sky. Shwa! The 11 gathered in mid-air, looking at the purple-clothed man before them. The purple-clothed man was sent by the Virtual Universe Company to organize the qualification battles. He was also a relatively strong Undying. Luo Foam? That's Luo Foam. Toka, he must be Luo Foam. That training speed is insane and terrifying. The gazes of the 10 seniors all landed on Luo Foam. Of the 10, only Tuaka was temporarily in Primal Chaos City. The other 9 were all sent outside. And because Luo Foam rarely attended classes in the virtual universe, the other 9 were all sent outside. He attended classes in Primal Chaos City. Hence, the other 9 weren't too familiar with him. Interesting. Luo Foam felt the gazes of the 10 around him, laughing within. Whatever, there's no meaning in bullying others too much. When the qualification battles begin, I'll give them some face. I'll just deal with them. There's no need to be too brutal. It was indeed bullying. Passing the 13th level and passing the 11th. The difference was too huge. It was completely a one-sided slaughter. Before, when Luo Foam didn't explode and pass 6 levels, the 10 old men all believed that even though Luo Foam had potential, at least they were stronger than Luo Foam right now. They didn't really like Luo Foam. However, when Luo Foam passed 13 levels in one go, this group of so-called absolute geniuses were all stunned. Dumbfounded. Toka, who was in Primal Chaos City, was howling within. I've trained for 30,000 years. He's only trained for a few hundred. How can he be so much stronger than me? He's too much of a bully. Don't tell me it's another Kudi. To be in the same generation as such a monster, it's a tragedy. The 10 no longer had any animosity towards him. They were all looking at an absolute genius monster. They were very clear. Luo Foam wasn't even on the same level as them. The purple-clothed man looked at the 11 before him, after which his gaze landed on Luo Foam. He couldn't help but look carefully. He had heard that Luo Foam had become a disciple of the Primal Chaos City leader. He couldn't help but be envious. This Undying like him didn't even have the right to meet the Primal Chaos City leader. Naturally, he was envious. Same rules. The purple-clothed man's gaze swept past the 11, his expression serious. The Domain Lord qualification battles that happens once every 1,000 years. There are a total of 11 Domain Lords. Every one of you will have to battle the other 10. These types of battles, a win will earn you 1 point, a loss or a draw will earn you 0 points. The final score will be calculated and you will be ranked according to your points. The top 6 will remain in the primitive secret realm. The bottom 5 will have to fight against the top 5 Domain Lords of the absolute beginning region to fight for the final 4 spots. Everyone understands now. Understood. The 11 nodded. Luo Foam was relaxed. However, the 10 seniors felt the pressure. No matter what, at least Luo Foam had snatched 1 spot. On the other hand, the top 5 of the absolute beginning area were the top 5 out of the hundreds of geniuses in the absolute beginning area. They were not much weaker than them. Once they were reduced to a battle, it would be very tragic. The qualification battles will be held in a special location. In a while, the virtual universe system will automatically send you out in pairs. Everyone will have to fight in 10 battles, unless your opponent chooses to forfeit. Those who don't fight can choose to watch the broadcast. Watch the others fight. The purple-clothed man smiled. Prepare yourselves. Wait for the virtual universe system to transfer you. The 11 nodded. Their gazes towards the others were different. Competition. From the day they stepped into the Virtual Universe Company, the competition had always been ongoing. Luo Foam, however, stood calmly in midair. He didn't care about the 10 seniors. His competition wasn't these seniors, not even the geniuses of this era. It was the absolute beings of history, or the absolute geniuses of the trillions of races in the universe. Hua, hua, hua. Of the 11 members, 10 were immediately teleported away, leaving only one standing there. It was Luo Foam. There's 5 battles at the start. I don't have share. Luo Foam shook his head and smiled. Don't rush. Everyone has 10 battles anyway. The purple-clothed man smiled at Luo Foam. And these qualification battles to you, it's just a formality. There's no challenge at all. Luo Foam smiled. That's right. Within a day, The Domain Lord qualification battles had ended. Luo Feng naturally won 10 out of 10 battles, rank number 1. With regards to this result, no one expressed shock or shock. Everything seemed to be expected. P.S. First chapter here. Chapter 752. The Domain Lord qualification battles passed just like that. The high and mighty absolute beings of humanity, as well as the geniuses, weren't at all surprised by Luo Feng's first rank. They were very clear. With Luo Feng's training speed, he was destined to become one of the top figures of humanity in the universe. Right now, they were anticipating and watching whether or not Luo Feng could actually master the first level of the 7 transformations within 3,000 years and become the direct disciple of the Primal Chaos City leader. Within Primal Chaos City, Your Majesty Luo Feng. 3 sector lords dressed in silver armor walked to Luo Feng's training quarters, looking up at him sitting cross-legged on the balcony. On the balcony, Luo Feng opened his eyes and looked below, revealing a smile. So, he immediately jumped off the balcony. Have the things I wanted arrived? Luo Feng looked at the 3 sector lords before him. Yes. The leader of the 3 silver-armored sector lords nodded, simultaneously handing over a world ring respectfully. Your Majesty Luo Feng, the things you bought, etc., are all within this world. Luo Feng received it and used his spirit energy to enter the world ring. The world within the world ring was very small. Its diameter was only 10,000 kilometers. However, there were large amounts of goods within, taking up a total of 1,000 kilometers worth of goods, of which the most eye-catching were the 3 silver chests placed in the center of the world. Very good. Luo Feng smiled and nodded. Sorry to trouble you all. It's our duty, our duty. The 3 sector lords were terrified, replying, We don't dare disturb Your Majesty Luo Feng. We'll make a move first. The 3 swiftly left, walking along the wide streets. The 3 couldn't help but discuss. Everyone says this Luo Feng is an absolute genius that only appears once every 10 million years. Who would have thought he doesn't seem to put on much airs and is rather easy to get along with? The last time we went to deliver some goods to that Primal Region sector lord, what's with his acting? That's called bearing. I heard His Majesty Luo Feng has already been accepted as a direct disciple of the Primal Chaos City leader. I heard he's an honorary disciple. Nonsense, he's obviously a direct disciple. It might have been spread wrongly. The 3 discussed mentally. They were only sector lords. However, as core members of the Virtual Universe Company, they frequently heard and interacted with secrets. However, they didn't know how many people had passed on the information, hence the authenticity of the information had to be discounted. Luo Feng took the world ring and immediately walked into the living room of his training quarters. Sitting on the sofa, Luo Feng rubbed the world ring and swiftly absorbed it. Come out. Luo Feng's eyes were filled with desire. He immediately took out the 3 silver chests from the world. 3 silver boxes were placed on the dining table. Each box was about 1 meter long, half a meter wide, and 30 centimeters high. Luo Feng took a deep breath and swiftly opened the 3 silver boxes. Pada, pada, pada. The chests were opened, and each of the 3 silver chests contained a stalk of white grass. The grass was placed very carefully. It was about 60 centimeters tall, and its stem was silvery white. Start eating grass. Luo Feng smiled as he looked at the 3 plant life forms. They're finally here. Ever since Luo Feng started training the first level of the 7 divine transformations 6 years ago, he had studied his approximate strength after completing the first level and had a clearer plan for the future. Training in Primal Chaos City was destined to take a long time, so he had to make use of this time. How to make use of it? His greatest asset was the Luo God Water. It was a top-grade treasure for nurturing plant life forms, hence he had to nurture them. One had to know that there were many warriors training in Primal Chaos City. They would often need to purchase treasures, and the Virtual Universe Company's ships would often come here too, hence he could order them. Luo Feng ordered 3 star devouring grass larvae. Star devouring grass. an extremely unique plant life that grows in the universe. It will be born on a normal mineral planet, and as it grows, it will automatically consume the various metals and rocks on the planet. Normally, a normal mineral planet is enough for a star devouring grass to evolve to the universe level, and the mineral planet will also crumble. This star devouring grass will take root on a large piece of rock and begin to wander the universe. During its wandering life, the star-eating grass may swallow special metals, rocks, plants, etc. to evolve. There are many types of plant life forms, like the main defense type, the main attack type, the attack and defense type, and others. As there were many types of plant life forms, and their abilities were countless, some plant life forms themselves could even give birth to other life forms. Some plant life forms were like trees that had to be rooted in the soil. Even when transplanting, one had to be careful, unlike the cloud contact vine, which could fly around as it pleased. Anyway, there were many types, many abilities. Only the most suitable ones were the best. Star-eating grass, known as the toughest offensive plant life form. This so-called toughest refers to some plant life forms that can be sold among the human race. In a vast universe, there are still some magical plant life forms that can be said to be unique and cannot be sold. This star-eating grass naturally loved to swallow rocks, metals, trees, etc., causing its vines to be incomparably tough and sharp. Its attacks were very simple. It was just a single move, entanglement. The cloud contact vine and star-eating grass were different. The cloud contact vine was actually mainly for defense, with some offensive abilities. However, the star-eating grass's selling price was much higher than the cloud contact vine. Without a certain status, without connections, one couldn't even buy a young star-eating grass. As the star-eating grass was an offensive plant life form and was known as the toughest, it was a very good support. For example, during a battle, the countless vines of the star-eating grass would wrap around the opponent. As long as it could affect the opponent's speed and attacks, then the outcome of the battle would be rewritten. Its only ability was entanglement. Its best point was that it was the toughest among the soul plant life forms, causing it to be in high demand. The 3-star-eating grass larvae cost Luo Feng close to 900,000 mixed elements. Of course, the larvae were all the same. However, the final product would be different. Just like the cloud contact vine, the weakest sector lord level was 36 main vines, and the best was 360 main vines. Back then, the Yinmo Planet Master Hu Yin Bo's Cloud Contact vine only had 108 main vines at Sector Lord level, but he still spent a lot of effort to make it break through to Undying level. Luo Feng's Sector Lord level Cloud Contact vine had 216 vines. To break through to Undying, it would probably be 10 times harder than Hu Yin Bo back then. The star-eating grass was more expensive than the cloud contact vine, of which, when it was sector lord level, the worst was the 10-vine star-eating grass. The highest was the 1,000-vine star-eating grass. Star-eating grass. Luo Feng looked at the 3 larvae and smiled. The 3-star-eating grass, along with the large amounts of materials to grow it throughout this world, all added up to a total of close to 2 million mixed elements. Without enough money, how would he dare to grow it? The cloud contact vine's main defense, while the star-eating grass supports its attack. Luo Feng thought, the star-eating grass toughness is famous. Its larvae can even swallow planets. Luo Feng, don't celebrate too early. Babada's voice resounded in Luo Feng's mind. Your teacher's cloud contact vine only had 108 vines, yet he spent 2 million mixed elements. Along with luck, it allowed the cloud contact vine to finally break through. It allowed the cloud contact vine to barely have the strength of an official early stage. Your cloud contact vine has a total of 216 vines. That's 10 times harder than your teacher's. If it were the strongest of the 360 vines, I'm afraid it would be 10 times harder than the golden horn beast breaking through to Undying. And similarly, once it becomes Undying, the cloud contact vine with 360 vines would have the strength of an emperor. The star-eating grass is more expensive than the cloud contact vine. Growing the worst 10-vine star-eating grass To reach undying, of course it would be easy. However, a 500 vine star eating grass is comparable to the strongest cloud contact vine. And a legendary 1,000 vine star eating grass, to break through to undying, the difficulty is probably comparable to the bug clan queen breaking through to undying. There's not much difference. Of course, the moment it succeeds, the undying level 1,000 vine star eating grass will definitely have the strength of an emperor pinnacle. Hearing Babata say so much in one breath, Luo Feng couldn't help but laugh. Of course, he knew all this. There were trillions of life forms in the universe. It was incomparably mysterious. However, there was never a free lunch. The universe was fair. Like the space beasts and bug clan queen, the difficulty of breaking through to undying was simply unbelievable. Those plant life forms too, the pinnacle of the plant life form, the difficulty would be ridiculously high. Choosing a weaker plant life form would make it easier to break through to undying. Or choosing an extremely strong plant life form that may never break through to undying. The choice was entirely up to the individual. Haha, that's why I ordered 3. Luo Feng smiled. 3-star devouring grass. One will be nurtured into a 100 vine star devouring grass, another into 300 vines, and the last into the pinnacle of 1,000 vines. Spending close to 2 million mixed elements. The 3 young plants themselves cost close to 900,000 mixed elements. The remaining 1 million mixed elements were used to buy various resources to grow them. The main thing was that the 1,000 vine star eating grass took up over 90% of the resources. Luckily, I have the Lock God water. Otherwise, growing a sector lord level 1,000 vine star eating grass would be enough to make an official level undying go bankrupt. Luo Feng thought, I'm still alright, spending 2 million now. When I reach sector lord level, the virtual universe company's other 50 million mixed elements will be in my account. Growing the star-eating grass was very easy. First was the owner recognition, and then the simple growing process. Most of the time, these 3 plants were in the Lock God water lake. At the same time, Babata was in charge of supervising and observing the evolution process of the 3 plants, providing other resources at appropriate times to speed up the evolution. Right now, these 3 plants are still in their infancy. However, I'll still be in Primal Chaos City for a long time. By the time I finish the first level of the Entropic God 7, I'm afraid they'll have already reached Sector Lord Pinnacle. Luo Feng smiled, after which he didn't think anymore, fully immersing himself in the training of the Entropic God 7. Training knew no time. Luo Feng sat cross-legged on his balcony, just like the other trainers. 1 year, 10 years, 100 years' time continued to pass. Luo Feng was constantly improving. The second chapter had ended. Tomato continued writing the third, begging for monthly votes.